It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shaffer. Anibal Godoy scored in the 80th minute as Nashville SC held on for a 1-0 win over the Seattle Sounders last night in rainy Seattle. It was the MLS season opener for both teams. The boys in gold back in action Saturday at Minnesota United. To baseball, the league and the Players Association still remain far apart on a new collective bargaining agreement. If there isn't a new CBA by the end of negotiations today, opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. The hardwood yesterday, women's college basketball number 8 LSU held off the 16th-ranked Lady Vols 57-54. Alabama over Vanderbilt 77-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. All4seasonsgarages.com is where I want you to go to learn more. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Shaffer, Jason Martin. Those are our names. At Ramon Foster, at Shaffer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon.
Yeah.
So, I was talking to Chris Plank, who we've had on the show a couple of times. Works with me at Fox. We had him on last Saturday, like over a week ago, and he said he had a theory and he had a word of warning for athletes and teams last week, and that was sports media was thirsty because of not much happening. So don't screw up because you become the center of attention because everybody's looking for anything because all they had was the NBA All-Star game. So it's just like if you're gonna do something with your drug dealer, or if you're gonna step out on your woman, or if you're gonna behave badly, last week's not the week because you jump in. So Phil Mickelson,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers a little bit.
Aaron Rodgers a little bit.
Aaron Rodgers.
A little bit of the war going on.
Yeah,
Sports world.
definitely some other things happening around the world. And then college basketball was the red wedding on Saturday. For the first time since the AP poll began, the top 6 teams lost, which basically means if you look at the seeding and the way it affects, it doesn't affect much because the teams that would have benefited also lost.
Yep.
But if you look at Joe Lunardi, Auburn's loss dropped them out of a 1 to a 2 seed from the 4 to the 5, and that one was courtesy of Rick Barnes and the Vols on Saturday. So I guess it means what you want, which is a tournament that feels a little bit more wide open. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's, and everybody's turning over backwards to tell you St. Mary's is good. That's fine. That's good. I get it. Still not a great loss for the number 1 overall seed to lose to St. Mary's. I know it's a hostile environment. I know it's a rival. I know that's a good program. If you're the number 1 overall seed, that's still not a game you're supposed to lose.
To St. Mary's, man. And respectfully, we say that to them.
Either way, either to St. Nathaniel's or St. Jonathan's.
St. Bonaventure.
Whatever.
Didn't matter. Franklin Saint. Okay, don't matter from Snowfall.
Boondock Saints.
St. Francis, St. Joseph's, St. Augustine.
All the Saints. Peter the Saint.
Drew Brees.
With the
Cam
Saints.
Jordan.
Pat Swilling.
Yeah.
Pat Swilling.
Alvin Kamara.
The other kid, Jackson, that was also out there with Swilling. It was
Marcus
56 and
Callaway.
57.
Marcus Callaway.
Bobby Abear.
Jameis
Craig
Winston.
Ironhead Hayward.
Yeah. Woo. And we got to say the Boondock Saints for just one more time, man.
Deuce McAllister.
Deuce McAllister, Robert Meacham,
Definitely Robert Meacham.
Cam Jordan, Jordan Cameron, whichever one you want to call it.
Whichever one, man.
2 first names.
Adam Moore.
Saints. Hey,
All of them.
singing in the pulpit
Jim
with
Moore,
the Saints.
Senior. Fans with paper bags on their heads. Archie Manning.
That's where I was going. Archie Manning and the Saints.
All of them.
Can't lose to them.
That's not one you're supposed to lose.
And they're not dumping salaries down in New Orleans with the Saints, but hey, there's a lot of Saints that are getting pay raises right now that's going to affect the cap again later down the line. Sean Payton, all of them. Hey, we might as well go. Reggie Bush, couldn't lose to him.
Joe Horn, the cell phone.
Yeah. Hey, losing down there to them on Halloween for me in 2009, those Saints.
The good Jimmy Graham.
Good Jimmy Graham. Wow. Dunking on the goalpost, Jimmy Graham
like
Saints.
Good Jimmy Graham.
Good Jimmy Graham.
Great Jimmy. Golden Graham.
Golden Grahams.
Cinnamon Graham.
Cinnamon. I heard about those. All the Saints, though. Number 1 overall seed, can't lose to them.
No.
It was a bad L day for some really good basketball teams this past week.
And it means the tournament could be more open than we think, or it could just be one of those days.
Yeah.
We saw this in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
we saw it in the NFL. Now, when we got to the Super Bowl, the Rams you would have expected, the Bengals you probably wouldn't have. So does that mean there's going to be a team that's unexpected in the Final Four? Does it mean there's going to be a couple? It could, because the tournament's a one and done situation, and wackiness often reigns supreme.
Yeah.
But I would hesitate to overreact to a bunch of good teams losing tough games on Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you who don't lose tough games, man. If I can pull up these scores here in a minute. But women's basketball this past weekend, Louisville over Notre Dame. It was like 48-8 in the second quarter.
Yeah, there are no blowouts in sports quite like women's college basketball blowouts.
The disrespect. They want to talk about unity. No, absolutely not.
UNITY.
No, they ended up beating. No, okay, so Louisville basically got up off the gas, and Louisville women's basketball team pulled up off the gas 86-64. Dude, UConn, Providence. I know they paid them a check, Providence, because they're in that area. Okay, 88-31. How disrespectful can it be? And that ain't even the worst one. Iowa's women's basketball team against Michigan women's basketball team. Iowa's 21, Michigan is 6. They bust the scoreboard on them, 104-80. You want to talk about respect? No.
Beat down.
You will get none of that in women's basketball. You're going to take this L and you're going to go back home and we don't hear anything behind it.
We don't have time for it.
None of that.
0.
It was like legitimate 48-8 in the second quarter, Jay. That's like varsity versus JV. Can you imagine just how demeaning that was? Shout out to women's basketball. Love it. Love that, man. Do not take your foot off their necks at any time.
They do not. It's cutthroat.
Really
if they can beat you 90-10, they're going to beat you 90-10.
Imagine you're a Division I basketball coach at Notre Dame, and they're used to having really good women's basketball. Like, there's a standard.
Well, they've done it to teams.
What?
They had it done back.
Well,
Eli Apple.
I'm listening to Cousin Danny. Just keep swinging for the fences. They did not miss whatsoever, man. Golly, that's cold blooded.
It is.
But
it's not exactly. It's not exactly novel in women's college basketball.
No, it's not. It's
but
no
yeah,
respect.
Tennessee, nice win over Auburn, obviously.
It was.
Obviously, especially coming off of, little deflating last weekend, right?
Yeah.
After everybody sings their praises and you lose that game.
I know, the Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah.
And Arkansas, it's not like Arkansas was a bad basketball team, but that's one I think Vols fans felt like they were going to win that game, and there's still a very up and down mentality to this team. It is good to know that you can also go and beat Auburn.
Yeah.
That there's that version of the team also. There's the one that lost to Texas Tech in a rock fight.
Which was in, 53-52?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. And then there's the team that can do what we saw on Saturday. There's different versions. There's a team that can give up 107 to Kentucky.
Yes, yeah.
But then there's a team that can come back and beat Kentucky. I don't know that that's exactly what you want, but at least that version exists.
Yeah, yep.
And when you get to the tournament, if you can just string a couple of those versions together, all of a sudden you got something.
Yeah, and then, of course, Auburn, it was a top 5 team in the country. beat them at TBA, man, which was, a lot of people kind of expected. Ron's been on that train for a lot, and I had to, just have that conversation. Like, yo, you for real, or like you believe they're gonna win? It's like, Mo, they're gonna win this game. I was like, not fandom, none of that. He was like, Mo, they're gonna win this game, and he started breaking down everything of why and how and what was going on. I'll be real with you. Going back as a fan to TBA Thompson Bowling Arena, man, being in that crowd, watching the people in the stands, number one. I know football doesn't move the ticker here as far as people want to speak about it, but the people that go to the games, dog, it fully engulf like the spirit of what basketball is, the understanding of it, getting into the crowd, the ups and downs of the game, man. It was a real good Pierce environment this weekend. And of course, Bruce being back. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Butch and Bruce.
Yeah, I don't think the Butch being back would have the same effect.
No, we'd have tomatoes on the friggin'. We have baby wolves on the floor if that was the case. But Bruce being back, man, he played it up well enough, but not disrespectfully. Although his team was very disrespectful in the pregame series or in the pregame warm-up. If you didn't see it, Jay, they do their thing, and I'm quotation marks. If you can't see me on Zone Chat, quotation mark did their thing before the game where they were at center court, stomping on the Tennessee logo, dancing on it. Not only just dancing on it, but they danced on it for over a minute long, just up and down, circling around. Hey, this is our house, top 3 outfit. And they pretty much had egg on their face after the game. And good for them, man. But the spirit of it was good. UT played a good game, man. And I've learned this too. Basketball comes in waves. UT started real hot. Auburn found a way back, and UT ended up finishing the game out, man. Very good game. Really good environment. Rick Barnes, man, played to the crowd really well after the game. He told them he appreciated them and also kind of got them to a point to where they were screaming, overrated. It was like, no. That is a top 5 team. There's no overrated in what they got in their product with their team. It's just the Vols were really good this past weekend on Saturday night, man. That's what you can say about that.
And that's all it takes.
Yep.
If you see them again, you just have to be better than them on that day. It's a lot different when it's not 4 out of 7. It's why usually the cream rises in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's why it's so much harder to see parity in many respects there. But in a one-and-done tournament, especially a wide-open tournament, you just never know exactly what's going to happen. But it was the kind of win that you can build off of, and it's the kind of win that hopefully can carry you. Look, you got Georgia. You can't take anybody lightly, but you should beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And then you see Auburn. You see Arkansas again on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the game where you got to get your payback.
Yep.
You can't get swept by Arkansas.
No.
You need to finish the season on a 4-game win streak. Beating Missouri, outlasting Auburn in a really tough, physical, hard-fought game. You end up at that point in time, 23-7. You're probably still a 3 or 4 line seed, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I think you have the potential now where you can push 5 out of the way if you can just just finish, and you don't want 5.
No.
And then, of course, you get to the tournament, and you never know what happens. And I mean the SEC tournament now. You don't know exactly what happens there. But there are 4 teams right now in the conference that seem to be on a different level than others, which makes me wonder whether Alabama, LSU, one of those teams is going to be able to play spoiler at all. But Auburn, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee right now are they've just had better years.
Yeah, they have. And it's a good product, man. Real good time. A lot of people came out Saturday night, too, in Knoxville. Saw Trey was there. Mm-hmm. Jalen Reeves-Maven was there. Coach Former, saw him and his wife, Miss Vicky, man. Really good time with them at the game. A lot of star power was there for Knoxville. Cool environment, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, every time I've seen a game there, which is not much, but I saw the Kentucky game with Grant and Admiral and a few years ago where they won in a big. It's a great environment. Barnes says that's why you bring in Rick Barnes. Short of winning tournament games, which I'm still skeptical about with him as a coach until I see evidence of it, he has made it. He's made it a place where you can win and where it's tough to win if you're coming in on the road. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. We are one day away from the start of March, which means free agency month. So, oh boy.
I got some young boys that are excited, man.
let the season of lies really crank up as I look up and see Kendrick Perkins on television and immediately think to myself, I hate it here.
I hate it here.
We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. So if your resolution was buying that dream home, getting yourself into it, where are you right now on that? Like, we're one day away from March. Hopefully the resolution's still alive, but you got to start making progress. Take those forward steps towards that dream home. If this is the year, I want you to turn that dream into a resolution and then a reality. Home ownership within reach for Tennesseans, first-time homeowners with much more assistance available to them than you'd guess. It's the biggest decision financially and sometimes otherwise that a human can make in their life, buying a home. And it can be easy to get overwhelmed, not know where to start. But if that's you, that just means you're like everybody else. Talking with a mortgage expert, that's what helps you get on the right track. They help you understand the process. They're the ones that put together the plan that utilizes your best options. And Mortgage Investors Group is your best option. As a Southeast leading mortgage lender, MIG here to help you get not just any home loan, but the right home loan. The Mortgage Investors Group team of experts cares. They're committed to helping you close on time, structure things right, realize those dreams, because their goal is to help you achieve yours, whether that's a new home, a better rate, a big addition to your current home, whatever it is in your situation, they're ready to make it a reality. Let Mortgage Investors Group work for you. Go to migonline.com. That's migonline.com and find the office nearest to you. Or you can text MIG, the three letters, MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
Volunteers come from 11 down in the second half to knock off the Auburn Tigers. Tennessee 67 and Auburn 60.
This music's the equalizer.
It's the beginning of Unity by Queen Latifah.
Right,
yeah.
Queen Latifah, the equalizer.
That's right, the TV show.
You looked at me like I had 4 heads.
Oh, you have one eye.
Did wear an eye patch for a couple days. Not doing that on this. I told Abby's like, that'd be good content. I was just like, nope.
Yeah, Abby.
Nope.
She's so right.
Abby's legit, man. She charged Jay up this weekend, from what I understand. She corrected Jay this weekend.
Just gonna say you want to kind of,
It's family show.
It's
Phrasing.
Family show.
Hey, she did that too. Man, it's the black of the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Abby got some soul? Okay. Abby got a little tan now. All right. Well, no, her soul ain't dark. I know that much for sure. There's a light to you, Jay.
Oh, boy. That laugh is set to rev up the combine. 615-737-1045. JMart and Ramon, the name of our radio program, by the way.
Man, let me tell you this past weekend, too. So, great weekend, okay? Really good weekend, man. My freaking kid won the North Nashville League this past weekend, okay? They were playing up. There are fourth graders playing against fifth graders. Really cool. They beat them in the championship game. They won all that. So me and Ron left that game, man. Went to the UT game this past weekend. UT Auburn game. By the way, Babs owed me, Ron, just a bunch of people wings, because when Ron and Babs made the bet on air, I threw my hat in too. I said, you know what? I want some wings too. Shafe, I feel like you threw your hat in also on the wings.
Sure, of course I did.
You threw your hat in on the wings too. Hunk, we found out, is the opposition. By the way, he roots for UT, but he was secretly going for Auburn. Also, Lucas Panzica, you can eat dirt with Joe Hunk also this past week for the rest of the week.
Joe has an Auburn license plate on his car.
He's been vouching UT for a little while too.
Wow.
He's basically flip-flopping over here, okay? He's a bad case of some grandma flip-flops.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yes, that's what's going to happen to Joe when we see him. Babs owe us strikeout wings. Just got to throw that out there. I don't know if she realized she's paying for about 10 sets of 10-piece wings with fries and the Kool-Aid, but she is, okay? But going to UT with Ron, we've experienced it on the football side, right? I'm like, did you play football or did I play football? Okay? Now, on the other side of that, going to TBA with Ron Slay. Different.
I'm sure.
Jason, Shaffer, different, okay? We walk in, we park in G10, cool, walk across the little bridge to get to TBA. Run. Hey, Corey got no roof. All the way into the arena, okay? The boom room. Corey got no roof. That's all we heard walking into it, man. We get in. We're able to go into the Pratt Pavilion where, they practice at, go the back way into TBA, go to our seats and everything. We're watching the game. Lo and behold, man, up and down, enjoying the game. It's phenomenal. People taking pictures with Ron. I start getting pictures too because it's like, oh, I recognize you now without the helmet. Cool. Loved it, man. Really good time. Had some really good seats too. Met a whole lot of people. And they started, doing the intros at half court, like intros. Hey, and welcome back. Boom. Everybody that was there. And Ron was like, watch this. I'm like, what you finna do? He was like, oh, you think we're going to sit up here and they're not going to introduce us? I'm like, what are you talking about, Savage? Call somebody, text somebody real quick. Somebody with a microphone comes up, hey, guys, come down. I'm like, what? That's when I saw Coach Former. He was, courtside and everything like that. And we got basically introduced into, I think, 9 minutes left into the second half. Ron and I got introduced at half court, man. By far one of the coolest things I've done at UT. And welcome back. They did a lot of welcome backs. Like I told you, Trey was there. Jalen Reeves-Maven was there. It was some older former players. There was really cool vibes, man. Older coaches were there and everything. I loved it. I ended up getting introduced. The ovation was higher than I thought it was, man. It was really, I was very humbled by it because then welcome back, Ramon Foster. I was like, man, this is cool. I'm an inverted person, okay? Like, I will go have a great time, but like be put on the spot, I'm an outward person.
Wait a second.
You want to try that again?
It's
an extrovert.
I'm an extrovert.
You're an outrovert, inverted person.
An inverted, outroverted extrovert.
That makes even better sense.
So here's the good news. We were off for a week, so we're supposed to be refreshed.
No,
you gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I see all of y'all. Y'all are really perked up.
Basically, that is
Crazy.
you know what that is, Shay?
Bruh.
That's a bunch of people going,
No. Not at TBA, okay? So play that again for me one time,
hold
Shay.
on.
Let me get it. Yep, there we go. That was awesome. Mind you, though,
that is awesome.
Ron was.
I don't even want to know.
Listen to me. He threw his sweatshirt in the air. I think it's still in the rafters.
They gave Ron a T-shirt gun.
Yeah,
They actually gave him a gun?
they did.
He was shooting off T-shirts during that break. Yep.
And I thought, this is what he told me after the game. I'm going to let him finish telling the rest. He said, Moan, I started to jump on the press table, but I didn't know if it was going to hold me up or I didn't know if I was going to fall like D. Wade. And I just died laughing.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't do that. Because that could have been.
It could have got bad.
That could have been the moment you don't want.
Him in front of Kessling just doing the D. Wade fist pump, the Michael Jordan fist pump. I'm like, no, Ron. But the whole environment, man, was so freaking sweet. After the game, Ron and I go down to the court, and of course, Barnes saw Ron getting the crowd hype. They really went on a run right after that to close the game out.
That's actually true. They did.
They did. And
that's when UT took their biggest lead of the game.
It was. And people were like, hey, y'all got to come back to the next game. And I'm like, if we get free tickets again, it'll work. But after the game, Barnes did his post game on the court and stuff like that. And he actually called Ron. I was like, hey, go get Ron, bring him over here, man. It was a really cool environment, man. I think it's proper very soon to go ahead and start trying to see if we can get Ron numbers up into the rafters too. I'm just gonna throw that out there and just go with that, man. Really good going back to UT. They really the people in power that right now are seriously doing the right things to the former players that were there. I saw Juwan Smith, JP Prince, a lot of guys that were just welcome back in a real cool fashion, man. Shout out to UT.
It's glad to see Huntley Hatfield make a 3.
Him, by the way.
In 27 games.
So it was two things that went on. He stepped up in a huge way, man, this past weekend. It wasn't a whole lot, but he did that. He sparked the run with that 3. But watching that young guy kind of grow a little bit is going to be good for UT down the stretch. Barnes got a solid team, and those guys are starting to catch a little bit of that confidence that's needed going into March, man. Really cool.
Yeah. I mean, again, I still say right now, I still would say Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's probably where this team runs into a tough stretch, but I guess you never know.
Right.
They definitely have the talent that if they're able to get it rolling and just don't have an off night, they could do something.
Right. They could, and that's what is pretty much all you said. They could
look,
do
a Sweet
something.
16 is not a bad season.
In
college basketball, if you make a Sweet 16, to me, that's a pretty good year.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good year, especially when you have seen signs where this team's like, man, this team be one and done in the tournament.
You're right.
But that's true for a lot of teams, and that's what you saw this weekend. Auburn's a really, really good basketball team.
Yeah.
They got beat.
Yeah. Simply put, they got beat, man. That kid number 10 for Auburn, God, he's pretty legit. Let me get his name down. I keep throwing numbers and not the names down. But he's really, really good. Smith. He hit a step-back 3, man. Jabari Smith hit a step-back 3. I was just like, goodness gracious. And he also took advantage of Zakai Ziegler being on him, too, when he did that. I'm like, this guy knows matchups, man. He was pretty good. Bruce coached him up really well, man. And I'll say this, too. It was kind of weird. Not weird, but Bruce has his son as the first assistant. And he was at UT with us, man. And I was just like, dang, he's really down there with his dad coaching. Auburn will be good in the tournament, though. I think everybody, look, this loss really won't affect them in a major way as far as rankings and everything, because a lot of people lost this weekend, and they'll still be good in the tournament. They'll probably end up winning the SEC tournament simply because they are just better than everybody else at this point.
You see Matt Nagy?
What did Nagy do?
He's back with the Chiefs as quarterback coach.
Is he really?
So
hold up.
After the quarterbacks that he just
ruined
had with him in Chicago, now you go coach Pat Mahomes, which basically means cash a check.
Yep.
Hang out for a couple of years, you'll get another opportunity.
Yep.
Money.
He's going to put him through the wash.
Bill Barnwell just wrote a piece that published about 45 minutes ago, making NFL offseason moves for AFC teams, how to improve all 16 and fill needs in free agency and the 2022 draft. Haven't had a chance to read it because it just hit, but it means everybody is getting talked about.
Mm-hmm.
For the Steelers, I quickly just find a short-term solution under center, meaning find a bridge quarterback.
A bridge quarterback. For me, that's been one of the biggest questions I've had asked me this offseason by people who watch the game or people who are Steelers fans. What are you going to do at quarterback? I'm like, man, I ain't got a clue, but they got to do something at quarterback, man, obviously. I don't know if Kevin Colbert's really going to make a pick at quarterback as his last big move as far as being a GM, but that's going to be insane, man.
Tennessee Titans, theirs is find a way to bring back Harold Landry.
Oh.
Conklin, Davis, Adoree, all left in consecutive off seasons. And then it talks about the money to Bud Dupree and Jeffson, obviously Big Jeff and AJ with money. This is interesting. Tennessee, $7 million over the projected cap, although it can clear out $17.4 by releasing Zach Cunningham and Janoris Jenkins. Free up millions more by restructuring the contracts of Bud, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, and Lawan.
God, dog.
That's a lot of restructuring.
Shoot, yeah. But that's the best way to keep this team together and on top as far as the AFC goes, man. You can't have a huge exodus when it comes down to this team if you want to continue to stay relevant, man. Because the pieces as of late, draft, what did you get out of the draft last year as far as players on your team?
You got maybe Weaver.
Maybe some Money Rice, who's coming back from ACL.
And I would say Molden.
Is the jury still out on the first rounder? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Because we barely saw him.
Mm-hmm.
He looked a step slow and looked like he had some ball awareness issues before he got injured and lost his season. So yeah, the jury. I would say the jury's way out there.
Way out on him, man. I was looking at.
By the way, it being out means we're not burying it either.
Yeah,
because we don't know yet.
No, we don't know yet. So who is it? Gennaro. What is it? Felice on NFL.com. They did rookie grades, man. And they gave the Titans a D+. Also with a D+ too, I can't not say it, is the Colts got a D+ too. As far as their grades go, man. And there was very minimal, like,
for the first round?
For the first round. No, just the whole entire draft. There was nobody really contributed other than Naquan. And like you said, Dez. And no, not Dez Fitzpatrick, Elijah Molden.
Right.
And Money had some games before the injury came upon him.
And I think Weaver would have contributed.
Yeah, Weaver would have, but he got injured too. So it's not fair to give him a D+, but it's understandably why. Like, it could have been close to an F considering all things in front of you.
Your first two draft picks, your second rounder really wasn't ready to play.
No, was not.
And wouldn't have unless they had to.
Mm-hmm.
And then your first rounder barely suited up. And that's the second year in a row where your first rounder gave you basically nothing.
Nothing. And it sucks because of injuries, but you knew what you were getting yourself into. You hope this year of rest, basically what he had last year, and just recovery this offseason, he becomes better mentally and physically to contribute to this team. Because you can't have, honestly, if we want to be real, 2 years of first-rounders non-contributing to the Tennessee Titans. That's not okay. It's one thing to have, like, your later picks, but your first-rounders, you got to at least be able to put them on the field and say, hey, they're learning. Isaiah didn't do that for you. Caleb this past year wasn't available to do that to you for two totally different reasons. It's just you get an incomplete for your assignment, basically, with those two. Well, you get an F for Isaiah, but you get an incomplete when it comes to Farley.
For sure. One thing that Barnwell says about a potential deal for Harold Landry, new deal would probably come in north of Trey Hendrickson's 4-year, $60 million last year. If the Titans are willing to go $17 million or more per season, that's probably what it's going to take.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that much.
Is there a number where you're like, nah, go?
15. If it's less than 15, you got to go. And the only reason I compare that is it depends on what other market is offering him.
Well, that's what I mean. I think I might have said it clunkily. Like, is there a number if somebody offers 18.5 where you're like, you go take that money?
I say if Miami offers him something like that, he got to go because the taxes line up. Like if you say the New York Giants offer him 18, that's pretty much the same deal as the Titans would give him at like 15, 16.5. I think his bottom line here in Tennessee has to be 16.5. If it's less than 16.5, he's got to go somewhere else. Also because that hurts the DN market too.
Franchise tag's about 17.4. That's what's going to be expected.
Yeah.
So you're paying him about the franchise number.
About the franchise number. 16.5 has to be his bottom line. Like you said, if it's 17, it's the franchise. That's what he's going to be guaranteed regardless. Well, that's where you got to play ball at. And then now it also depends on how long you stretch this deal out. Would you say, what was the Trey Hendrickson? It was like
4 for 60.
4 for 60? Yeah, the guarantee's got to be big.
Guarantee's got to be big. You got to probably find a way to create some voidable years, whatever it is that you need to do down the line.
This, to me, also shows these numbers. The slant and the pressure, I think, is more on the defensive side more than offense now. I feel like moving forward for the next couple years, this defense is going to be expected to carry this team a whole lot more than the offense has in the past. Simply because the money, the guys you're able to attain and keep around, keep around, is going to be expected to have a whole bunch of low-scoring games for opposing offenses.
Weirdly, also, I don't think anybody would have predicted this a year ago. But the offense is where the question marks are.
Big time.
The defense is where you feel a lot more secure, and you feel like you have known quantities.
Yep.
Offense, there are some crucial spots where you just have no idea what you're going to see in the fall. And I mean from guys you know are going to be here, not just the ones you're going to see whether or not they restructure or they let go or they move on from. The guys you know are going to be here, there's question marks. There's question marks about your running back.
Yep.
Coming off that injury.
And the guy you fell in love with late last summer, Julio.
Yeah, there's some huge questions. And that's before we start to see some of these dominoes begin to fall right after St. Patrick's Day, when we start to see some of these deals made across the league. 615-737-1045, 737-1045. On the show today, by the way, John Glennon, who we can talk Titans with. We can also talk some Preds coming off Saturday's event. And front office sports. Mike McCarthy will join us. Yeah. Sean Payton, Fox is trying to pair him with Joe Buck, it sounds like.
That's a few that's on the block right now, man.
But Greg Olson's the most talented guy right now. And if you read the article, everybody knows it. And so does he as he starts his own podcast network. And is going to be a studio analyst for Amazon.
The tight end?
Yeah.
Olsen? Amazon's also apparently after Herb Street, too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're like I said, man, Bezos has got the money.
Who'd ever thought sports analysts would have a free agency like this? That's
it's a wild world, man. 615-737-1045, morning moment. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Chili Peppers will be at Nissan Stadium soon. So weird. I remember living in Kennesaw, Georgia in
Kennesaw.
right around the turn of the century, and trying to get to a record store to stand in line to get tickets for a free Red Hot Chili Peppers show that they were playing just in some weird location where even then they were way too big to be there, but they were playing there.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to be a stadium act is something I never saw coming.
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Never
crazy.
saw them playing a venue like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I never saw Ice being at Nissan Stadium.
Yeah. Seemed to have been a really good turnout this past weekend too, man. I didn't see as much hate on the jerseys because people were really enjoying the game. Even
Jerseys
though they
still
lost.
sucked.
They were terrible.
They didn't translate well on TV.
Hot, steaming, stink trash.
Just a big old. It was just.
It
The
was
poop
the
fest.
worst.
There was some stank on it, basically.
It was toilet
And
paper.
I tried to give it a chance, and I watched it on TV and went, well, maybe it's going to translate well on TV. Nope.
It was shiny. It was even worse.
Instead, it was more like, well, it was kind of like.
You guys are really just like, nah.
No, it's
man.
just the jersey just wasn't any good.
No, it was-
Like the previous one, I originally hated on when they did the Stadium Series, and
Yeah.
it was okay. When I saw it on TV, it kind of grew on me. This one, it's just
TV made it worse.
No, it's just not good.
It was bad, man.
Who was it? Tampa Lightning. The boys came out, man. I saw a bunch of them out there. It was hilarious. Did somebody drink a beer, throw a fish out there too again this weekend? I feel like there was something crazy that went on.
Yeah, the catfish got thrown onto the
Catfish
ice.
got thrown onto the ice. A lot of the guys were wearing cowboy hats and stuff like that, by the way. Although I
Yeah.
know these aren't your regular cowboy hats because I'm seeing the design on them, and those hats are $1,000 a whop. Pretty awesome, man. But Nashville always comes out. The event itself looked pretty doggone cool. And it's just a Nashville thing, always showing up and getting everybody going, man. I freaking love that.
Saw this on social media over the weekend. Said Nashville might not always win the game, but they always win the party.
No doubt.
they do.
Which is good and bad.
Yeah, they do.
It's good and bad.
Sometimes it gives a false impression of what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But, man, they do big events like nobody else does.
Man, I got to get one of these hats. They are cold-blooded. First one I saw was Ryan Tannehill give Ben Jones one. I'm like, man, that hat looks pretty cool. It's very unique, and there's a guy here that makes them. There's a few of the guys from the Predators that are wearing them too. God, that's a fresh hat. I never won a cowboy hat, Jay. I might wear one now. What you think? Can I rock it?
You can.
I can, you think?
Yeah, sure.
You can rock one
Do
too,
you think
Jay.
he's just going to let you buy a $1,000 cowboy hat?
That's the other question. Should I be siphoning money?
He can get it done.
Should siphon money on the
He
side?
can get it done. I don't know if he's getting that one done.
No, I'm just saying I want him to get this because I need this in my life.
Oh, no. I need
I
Ramon in
need
a
you to have
cowboy hat in my
$1,000 cowboy
If
hat.
he's in the cowboy hat, you have to wear the patch.
I can't lie. This is
Not
a
happening.
bad
You have to
boy,
wear the
though,
patch.
man. I got to show y'all these hats. They're
All right,
freaking
if-
phenomenal.
okay, if
Kid
we
stabbed
were-
me on Saturday and was like, "Hey, matey, the Walk the plank."
It would go real good with your Broncos throwback jacket, man. Even so, I'm serious. It's a cold hat, man.
You wear the hat, I'll wear the jacket.
No, you got to wear the hat, too.
Nah.
Yeah, man. Come on,
I
dog.
got my granddaddy's straw hat at the house.
I got a straw hat, too, when I'm cutting the yard. When I used to cut the yard. That's bad. That's so bad.
When was the last time you cut the yard?
You want to tell me why I stopped? Want me to tell you why I stopped?
No, you're not answering a question with a question. When was the last time you cut the yard?
Like 2018.
Okay.
You want to know why though?
I don't really
more
care.
honest.
Because
I was
I had
expecting.
I almost flipped the ride more over
On that
going up my hill.
Well, yes, because I can understand on that.
Yeah,
property.
my neighbor had to come push the lawnmower
Straight up.
down.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Hey, no, you still got ball to play. You under contract, right?" I was like, "Yes." I ended up hiring the guy, man. Shout out to my guy.
Yeah,
John.
so for some people, you can't jump out of an airplane. For you, don't dare mow your lawn. You're the real hero. You the real MVP.
Sit on it and spit.
615-737-1045. 737-1045. You never know whose day it's going to be, but we know now.
I see.
Be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way and it just stayed that way for what felt like forever. That's what happens when you sell in your home. You have to list it and you got to keep the show ready because you never know when somebody wants to come by for what they want to call a quick look. Or you have dozens of people marching through your home that may or may not be serious about buying. And this goes on until the right buyer comes along. Well, that's all changed thanks to Open Door. And it's Ramon Foster, and I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com, and I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. Open Door takes a look at your house along with recent sales in your neighborhood to come up with a very competitive offer, a real offer. And there's no listings, no strangers, and no stress, and a real competitive offer in minutes. Just go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer. Open Door is the new way to sell without all the hassles of a traditional home selling. You'll know how much you'll get, and you can close when you're ready, and you can do everything online. Go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer today. That's opendoor.com/WGFX. And offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 020611130 in California, Open Door Brokerage, LLC, and there's other markets.
7:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Shaffer. Anibal Godoy scored in the 80th minute as the boys in gold, Nashville SC, held on for a 1-0 win over the Seattle Sounders last night in rainy Seattle. Season opener for both teams in MLS. Nashville SC back in action Saturday at Minnesota United. The league and the Players Association in Major League Baseball still remain far apart on a new collective bargaining agreement. If there isn't a new CBA by the end of negotiations today, opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. To the hardwood, ladies college basketball, number 8 LSU held off the 16th-ranked Lady Vols, 57-54. Brackets out for the SEC women's basketball tournament in Nashville. That's going to be Wednesday through Sunday this week. Tennessee, number 3 overall seed for the second straight season. Meanwhile, Alabama defeated Vanderbilt yesterday, 77-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. All Four Seasons Garage doors, making it possible. allfourseasonsgarages.com. Go there to learn more. You hear me say it. When I'm here, the LiftMaster changed our life. And it was an affordable way to step up the game at home. You should do the same. Say the one that you put in JMart's house, I want you to put that one in my house. And they will, and it'll be a great decision. 11-year NFL veteran Vol Flight from Ramon Foster was talking right there. Jonathan Shaffer, I'm Jason Martin. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because you simply just get the best every time. Why
You're
play around?
talking about $1,000 cowboy hats.
It'd be a gift. Trying to get it.
It'd be a gift for us. It'd be great content.
Yeah, it would be. No, you rock this hat, though. These are some bad hats, man. And I've never been a cowboy hat guy.
See, I realized a long time ago I put on a cowboy hat. I look like Woody from Toy Story. Not as endearing as you think.
Put my name on the bottom of your shoe.
Pull the string, baby.
Put Andy
Yeah,
at
but
the
you're
bottom
Woody
of
from
your
the
shoe.
darkest timeline.
God.
From the multiverse.
God, dog.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
you still our guy. Never have a problem with that.
It's funny.
You see Cordero saying he wants to stay in Atlanta.
Bet.
Atlanta spoiled me, he said.
Arthur knows how to use them. Period.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I find this hilarious. I screenshotted this. I don't know why I'm going to find the email about it. It's amazing how things change. Just kind of out of nowhere. I hope that I've still got this screenshot, or this is going to be a real bad setup. No, I got it. Okay. From the February 18th Colin Cowherd show, I get the Fox emails from all the hosts, and usually I find out what their number one topic is. So I'm going to just quote Cowherd from the 18th.
Let's hear it.
I just screwed it up. Okay, there it is. We all know the Packers never spend money on free agency. You know what else they don't spend money on? Coaches. Matt LaFleur makes $5 million a year, 50% less than the top of the league. You anointed LaFleur to an area I'm not sure he deserves to be in. Was he even a good coordinator? You can argue Arthur Smith was a more successful coordinator than LaFleur in Tennessee. He inherited Aaron Rodgers in a crappy division. I thought he was coach of the year.
I thought he was too.
So what is that? Is that protect Aaron Rodgers at all costs?
What it sounds like. Sounds like he's got a buddy in the media.
Again, everybody's on the extremes, and the truth is always in the middle.
Right.
LaFleur did inherit Aaron Rodgers, and he also has coached him extremely well through a minefield in the offseason last year, too.
Very much so.
They lost a game, and now it's, I don't know that he's really, and he went on further, Cowherd, to say he's not really head coach material, perhaps. He got a job he shouldn't have gotten. It's like, I remember when it happened for 2 days straight. at 6 p.m., I went off and said it was unbelievable to me that he was the first guy hired based on what I'd seen him do here as OC that year.
Right.
And since then, I've taken an L because he's gone 13-3, 13-3, 13-4 now. I think it is, maybe 14-3, whatever it was. I was baffled when I saw that. It was just like, wait.
And also, is other side of coaching is being able to manage your team, and he's done that. Considering they won double-digit games this past year with the offseason of what Aaron Rodgers did.
That's what I'm saying. And if you read into it, he's the main – he was able to just kind of –
calm everything.
Yeah. Like he was sort of bridging between them. There's no rift with him and Aaron Rodgers. He was able to kind of sit between the GM and Aaron Rodgers and just not get in the way and he handled it right. He handled it politically smart.
LaFleur is
like a CEO would.
He's been good. Like you said, he was in the top conversation, one of the top 3 candidates for Coach of the Year. You had Zach Taylor, LaFleur, and Vrabel. Those were the guys, and I think you might have had the Rams coach in that list, but he kind of fell off as they kind of waned off towards the end of the season. Yeah, they won the Super Bowl, but as far as Coach of the Year goes, no. LaFleur was top 3 in that, man. That's silly to me.
It's just – that's such an extreme position.
That's pretty wild.
That I'm just thinking to myself, Colin, do you actually believe that?
My question is, we all know this to be true too. Guys, coaches, players have friends in the media. They can create narratives or push certain contents, or not even them. Agents or agencies do this type of stuff. Who's the guy behind Cowherd that's looking for that job then? Or why does Cowherd want him out?
I mean, Cowherd's plugged into the Rams and USC. More than anything else right now.
It's even more weird then.
Yeah, and he's kind of tied in with San Francisco too.
To get Aaron out, God, dog, that's pretty wild.
It was just such an odd take. It's just like, wait.
This is the offseason.
You can make that point before he starts coaching games, but when he has 3 straight double-digit, I don't care who his quarterback is.
They were 13-4 this year.
And 13-3 and 13-3 the 2 years prior. I don't know what more you can do in 3 years in the NFL than lose 10 games combined.
League offensive rank, top 10. You know, they did a lot of great things this year. Of course, having Aaron Rodgers helps out, of course, but still.
It's the timing of that. It's like, wait, why are we now saying, I'm not so sure he deserves that job? Wait, what? Mike McCarthy's got a job in Dallas right now. Mike McCarthy gravy trained Aaron Rodgers to far less wins than Matt LaFleur has.
And mind you, I mean, if he could have said something about Joe Judge, maybe when she was out of a job. I mean, like, he's not him. You know, I'm almost looking at Cleveland's situation like, well, you'd be better off attacking that situation than you would Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, it's just odd. Very, very odd. Also odd is just Aaron Rodgers in general.
You read his diet, huh?
This panchakarma cleanse, which, sure, man. Peyote in the desert, I assume.
Peyote.
He's a Burning Man.
Yeah.
According to Insider, says he recently finished a 12-day cleanse involving butter, laxatives, and abstaining from sugar, sex, and alcohol.
You see how they describe it? Like his body, he had an extraction, top and bottom.
A period of reflection meant for cleansing the mind and body. It is intended to lubricate and cleanse the digestive system. Should be done not alone, but with a trained practitioner. 2 ounces of warm ghee, clarified butter in the morning, herbal laxatives at night. Eat mainly a mixture of rice, mung beans, whatever the hell that is.
With the white sold Jim.
And yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Not the prime beets. And vegetables known as kachari, cooked with more ghee and seasonings like ginger, turmeric, and coriander.
Yeah. Pungent.
Avoid any stimulating activities like exercise, music, television, or sex, and spend time resting and reflecting in a warm, quiet place. In some cases, the process may involve therapeutic vomiting, enemas, and bloodletting.
Oh.
I'm reading this directly from the article at the Insider. And now this is the best. And did you not know this was coming? While there may be a spiritual side to the panchakarma, there's no evidence-based health benefit to undertaking said diet. We were given livers and kidneys to help with detox. We don't need to do something like this to make ourselves healthier, said Bonnie Taub Dix, registered dietitian and the author of Read It Before You Eat It, taking you from label to table.
There's no real benefit to it other than emptying yourself out.
There's also a risk of dehydration, electrolyte imbalance from consistent use of laxatives and ghee, which also has a laxative effect.
Yeah.
So not only are you taking laxatives, you're taking whatever this clarified butter is.
Yeah. People cook with it, from my understanding. That was just simply all I ever knew you could do. I didn't realize it was a diet thing.
Well, then it should be Russell Wilson that's doing this because he's the one that cooks.
He does. Hey, now.
Okay, Aaron. All right, buddy.
What's wild, though, is he does the laxatives at night. Like, do you not want to go to sleep either? Like, is it like you just kill yourself with sleep?
You forgot one part of that whole story, Jason.
I pissed down my leg.
Yeah, probably a lot.
Probably a lot more than that.
So stimulate, like he probably didn't take a shower or anything. Just funky Aaron in a jungle.
I mean, but doesn't it seem like that's the kind of thing he would have done with Shailene, not post Shailene?
Well,
that seems like something she would have come up with.
It's also you had a breakup with her.
Maybe that's why she ran off.
That's true.
She's like, man, she's like, I mean, I know I'm a little bit nutty, but you're insane.
You're really crazy. Yeah, no, it's the offseason, man. People do weird things, dog. Not that weird, though. Why is he turned into the discount double check guy to the most herbal, spiritual, confusing?
He's got to be bored out of his mind.
Too much money, not enough friends.
Just too much time to think about himself.
Is this what happens when you don't have a circle of friends?
I mean, you got to talk to people.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a spouse in that situation too, like where are his outlets?
Yeah.
I mean, the only time he talks is to Pat McAfee. That seems to be it.
Seems to be it.
And that's once a week. Now, I know they're friends, so I'm sure they probably talk outside of that too, but that's really the only outlet he has.
Yeah. For me with him, man, it's like, dude, I hate the whole shut up and dribble narrative, but with Aaron Rodgers, like, man, just spin the ball. That's all we want to see anyway. Like with
Sit at home and watch your Office. Watch The Office on Netflix.
Yeah.
Watch Game of Thrones, which I know you love.
Mm-hmm.
And just cool out.
Talk to some people. Have some friends.
Get yourself an Xbox One X.
You can afford it even
Halo
aftermarket.
Infinite. Sit at the house.
Oh God, dog, bloodletting. Yeah.
I don't even know
what's blood. I don't even know what that is.
Doesn't sound
either.
good.
I have no idea what bloodletting is.
Sounds like something Rob Zombie would probably produce. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. What we won't be doing during the break is panchakarma. Be right back, though. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, if your work involves managing a facility, I got good news. It's a Lee Company, and that's any kind of facility. If it's a mall or some kind of a shopping area, maybe it's a school building, whatever it is. Lee Company offering a special facility evaluation to help you stay open at full capacity. Lee Company pros know how to come out and see your situation, evaluate it, report back, and tell you what you need to stay open at full capacity and to be more efficient along the way. They can talk about your HVAC equipment, your plumbing, your indoor air quality, your electric stuff, your touchless technology as well. They can install touchless tech for doors, for lights, for faucets, for all sorts of things, all part of the plan to help our community restart right. Ask the friendly, experienced pros from Lee Company Facility Solutions to review your building and show you the most efficient way to operate safely so you can keep those doors open for business and so you're not spending money that you don't have to spend. Find out more. Call Lee Company today, 615-567-1000, or go to leecompany.com. That's Lee Company. Again, that telephone number, 615-567-1000.
Vescovy drives, pulls up, can't shoot. Gives to James. James kicks it back. Vescovy, long three. It's good. Money! Santiago Vescovy drills a long three-pointer. Bang, bang, bang.
Made enough shots to finish off Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Probably will have to go through them again at some point along the way.
Yep.
But you never know. Maybe somebody knocks them off in the NCAAs. And who knows what's going to happen in the SEC tournament.
I know. It's wild. SEC's got a really good conference now. Basketball, football, baseball, also women's basketball, man. By the way, South Carolina's women's basketball team is
Dawn Staley is awesome.
Yes, she is, man. But, yeah, big win by the Vols this past weekend, this past Saturday. Environment was crazy. Bruce was very respectful about his approach as opposed to, I know a lot of people were, the conversation was, why is the love affair with, Bruce and Lane? I don't think Bruce kind of leans into it the way Lane does, but the fan base just doesn't seem to let go of him. But with Bruce getting the lifetime contract and, and having the ability to stay at Auburn and they're investing in him, I think UT fans can let go of that pipe dream now. Unless I've heard Ron say, if something crazy happens and Barnes retire or something like that, you get Stephen Pearl, but I highly doubt that to be the case because Stephen played at UT. Now he's first assistant under Bruce Pearl, his dad. That's only hope you got at this point.
Why do you want Stephen Pearl?
What does that mean?
I mean, let's be real about that.
I know, but of course it's the Pearl thing that comes up.
So
that's when you start getting too insular like that.
Yeah.
You start making mistakes.
This is getting a little too single white female for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. But that's what we've done. Think about it. Why there's a group here that absolutely adores Lane.
Then let's not do that anymore. I mean, that's the thing that I like about the current administration and how vertically with the current administration, it's probably the strongest it's been in 20-some years.
Facts.
So let's go in that direction.
Yep.
Lane's gone. Bruce is gone. Forget it. It's over. Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Be better. Do better.
Always brings it up, man.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah. I love Shafe when he goes in like that. He said what I said. I got nothing.
It's silly.
Yeah.
It is.
It's silly.
Mm-hmm. And you beat them on your home floor. And they tried to win. It wasn't like Auburn laid down. No, absolutely not.
Here's the thing with Bruce and the cookout and the violations and all that. That's different. Lane left your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lane left.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it with Lane. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You got a good guy in there right now. Now, let's see what he can do in year two, because at one period of time, we thought Jeremy Pruitt was going to be the guy, and we saw how that happened. Don't think that's going to be, the case with Josh Heupel. Okay? But y'all, forget it. Move on. Enjoy what you got right now.
Please. Awesome environment, though, Shafe. Loved it
was
this
fantastic.
past weekend.
It was fantastic.
Loved it this past weekend. But we'll see. Tournament time's coming up. And got a big one this weekend with Arkansas.
According to Judy Batista of the NFL Network, Colts submit a proposal to guarantee each team an overtime possession. If approved, rule change would apply to regular and postseason. That meaning even after a touchdown, the other team would get a chance to possess it. Only thing I hate there is just again, it shouldn't be a possession because you have the same problem if it's, for example, Chiefs-Bills. Bills would have had the opportunity to match. I think we all think they would have matched because nobody was stopping anybody in that game, especially in the second half. So then what happens? After that, who gets the ball? Do the Chiefs just get the ball back at that point in time, go score a touchdown, the game's over?
On sudden death.
What do you actually accomplish by doing that? Unless you say equal number of possessions until one team fails to do what the other one has. I don't know that you've actually changed anything. Now, you might get it to where I don't think that fixes it unless you're the second team and you have a chance to go for two if you want to go for the win right there. And even then, what was the stat? 10-1?
10-1 this postseason as far as overtime goes, man. It had been one of those situations where the coin toss team had won 52% of the time, but this postseason, I think they said it was 10-1, which I think sparked a whole lot of just outcry like this has to be changed. And also, I'll say this too: I don't think anybody wanted that Bills-Chiefs game to end.
No, they didn't. And then you felt like, you know what? That was a really, really good meal.
Mm-hmm.
But the dessert didn't hit the way I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I walked out thinking 9.5 instead of 10 because just something was off.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that was off was you don't really know who the best team was. You still feel like Buffalo might have been the better team.
Right.
But they never got to see the ball in overtime. But if they got to see it once and then Kansas City got the ball back and scored a touchdown, which I think we all probably would have seen happening,
Mm-hmm.
then what do you accomplish? Like,
Right.
it still has to be one team has to fail to do what the other one does with equal possessions. I
So-
still feel like it has to be that way.
Here's a little bit of information from NFL.com. Overtime rules have been adjusted over the years. All it took was a field goal to win before the 2010 postseason.
Which was horrible.
Then the NFL required a first possession touchdown to end the game without the opponent touching the ball. Under these rules, coin toss winners came out victorious 52.8% of overtime games per NFL research. In the postseason, however, coin toss winners are 10-1.
Yeah, like 52.2 is what 52.8.
Yeah.
That number drops to 9.9% in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because you got good teams.
Yeah, you do.
And most of the time, teams that are playing in January
Mm-hmm.
have solid offenses
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and score a lot of touchdowns.
And especially with rules, and
Exactly.
somebody asked me, this has been very slanted to offensive side of the ball
Especially
now.
the passing game and the vertical attack.
Another rule that I don't know if people want to, bring up to me, it's the roughing the passer one.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's
terrible.
even as a protector. And I've been on the other side of it, Jay, where like, yeah, he hit his helmet.
Man,
And I'm like,
we're getting real liberal.
You tapped it, man. You really, really tapped his head, and it wasn't a hit, and you get a 15-yarder after that. That's got to be
We need
adjusted.
to be a little less Bernie Sanders when it comes to how we adjudicate
a
that.
little less just idiotic is what we
Yeah.
need to be on that rule in general. Like, you can't do that.
I agree. Because, man, it's so easy for the quarterback to act.
I would.
Oh, so would I.
If it's in my favor, I would.
It's like, and we saw it. Guys that you like, guys that you respect,
Mhm.
still going to take dives.
Mm-hmm.
Because why wouldn't you? The rules are set to where, well, that's going to be an automatic first down and 15 yards on top of it. You got to.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd be an idiot not to. Doc is in Nashville. Doc, what's up?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Happy Monday.
Same to you.
Just wanted to put a bow on the Bruce Pearl and Lane Kiffin love affair. I went to UT. I was there for the Lane Kiffin riots. Look, treat them like an old girlfriend. When it's over, it's over. The greatest injury an enemy can suffer is to be ignored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do not matter to us. Treat them with respect. Do it like everybody else, but you get nothing special out of me. I'm going to hang up and listen. You guys have a great day.
Appreciate it. That's true.
Definitely the best approach to it.
The more you say, the more it's obvious you're not over it. Who wins the breakup? The one that doesn't talk about it.
Yeah. You try to paint a picture of him. I mean, it's just like Lane the other day. You want to race when they was on the Jets on the runway. I'm just like, Lane, stop. But fan base buys into that. I'm like, he's doing it because he know he can continue to just knock on your door and you're going to answer.
He's got the perfect first name because he's in a lane
Yeah.
all the time. You know what lane he's in. Just let him hang out over there. It's going to work for him. There's going to be a lot of people that like it. There's going to be some people that are going to bristle at it. But as long as you just know he's a few lanes over from you, you just keep on bowling your way, man.
Yep.
You just keep your car where it is. You don't have to worry about it.
To me, this also shows he's got to go over and beyond to do this type of stuff because we heard from Caleb Williams' dad this past week. It's like he just didn't want to go to Mississippi with his kid. Like, Lane's got to do these outside things. Show you his, Jaguar, Aston Martin that he had in his garage. He's got to be the most charismatic on social media. He's got to show himself on a private jet. He's got to do all these things to get you to notice him on why you want him to be your cool coach. Because nobody really wants to go to where he's at.
That's the issue.
That's the issue, right?
If he was in Miami,
Oklahoma even?
it'd be much different.
Oh, Miami?
It'd be much different. Which is why you think Cristobal is going to work, because Cristobal was able to recruit like crazy to Oregon.
Yeah.
Now he's in Miami?
Miami.
One would think that would be easier.
To all my Ole Miss alum, like, I love y'all cool people, but it's hard to go there. Like, even the airport side of it, you know, it's you got to fly into Memphis and drive another hour 15, hour 20, hour 30 to Oxford. Like, come on, man, it's a lot to ask. Lane's got to do those things, and we got to stop giving it air, man. Like, don't do that with Lane. God, over him.
Garrick, what's going on, Garrick?
Hey, good morning, fellas. Happy Victory Monday after Nashville SC went into Seattle and beat the Sounders. I hate to interrupt your guys' Lane Kiffin talk 12 years later, but just that's a huge win. I'd like to hear as much talk about this as possible that you guys know. Only 25% of MLS regular season matches last year ended with the away team taking all 3 points. And going into Seattle is not an easy task, and leaving with the victory. I'd say the NFL equivalent of that is if the Titans went into Arrowhead and came away with the victory. So really big start to the season for Nashville SC and the Boys in Gold. I'd just like to hear you guys' thoughts on that if you have any. Thanks, I appreciate it.
I can do the quick soccer minute. Huge win last night for Nashville.
Yeah.
And Randall Leal's pass, his cross into the box that Godoy was able to slot away to get the win. For them to limit Jordan Morris and Seattle's bigger guns offensively to get a 1-0 win at a tough place to play in terms of both the crowd and in terms of the weather. And you're from Nashville going out to Seattle, so you've got the 5-hour plane flight going out. Really big win for a season opener. And this is a team that's going to be on the road until the beginning of May when the new stadium opens up. And I'm a season ticket holder and very much looking forward to that. Very much ready for it. But this is a team that has a chance to do some pretty special things.
And this is also, and that's not just a pushover win that just happened with Seattle. Seattle is like a club,
a multiple-time MLS Cup champion. They're one of the blue bloods in MLS. So to get that win on the road, back in the Western Conference now, Nashville was in the West and the East, and now back in the West, and Charlotte got added to the Eastern Conference. Huge win. You really can't overstate it.
That's interesting. You got Nashville in the Western Conference, almost like Memphis in a sense.
Well, you have the Predators. You know, they were in the Western Conference with, in the Central Division.
That was a
Memphis
really nice
in the
crossing
West.
pass.
So
it really was.
It was outstanding.
It was perfect.
So with Nashville Soccer Club, like as far as that goes, like I think you're looking at a few organizations: Seattle, Nashville. As far as pushing the MLS over the top.
Well, I think Seattle, the reason you're in Nashville is because they saw the draft and they saw all these other kinds of things and they knew they wanted to be in this market. But you see the success in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You see the success in Seattle. Markets that wouldn't necessarily be at the top of your list just if you were spitballing to start a league, but where people will come out to the show, especially cities with a lot of transplants.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about Nashville we need to talk about. Not just people from other parts of the country, but people from other countries
Yes.
that are here as well. And that's a great start to the year.
I mean, we're definitely going to do a game in the new stadium later this year, no doubt. But it's going to be fantastic. And a couple weeks ago, coming up 65, I'm not south of Nashville very often, living in actually in Gallatin, but in Simple Sumner. I saw the stadium for the first time and went, oh, it's right there, and it's almost done, and they were ahead of schedule. And they're a model franchise. You really have to like how all three of the major franchises in town are being run right now with the Titans and the Preds and with Nashville SC. There's a little criticism to go along with the Predators in terms of they're just not able to get over the hump and get back to where they once were, but they're all three very well-run organizations.
They did erect the pec this past weekend and talked about it.
You had the jacket.
Yeah, and the jerseys up in the rafters too, by the way. Is this not as far as I guess the late 90s, early 2000s, as far as Nashville sports go, this era that we're in right now has got to be one of the peaks as far as, like you said.
Yeah, I'd say it's the peak
club
from when the Predators and the Titans came to town. Yeah, I'd say it's the greatest peak since then.
That's pretty cool.
And I asked you when we were when we were at AEW, because I knew you had season tickets, I was like, what does that cost? Because, like, if I had, with a
spare change
11-month-old daughter, it changes what you have available. But in the right circumstance, you get a decent amount of games for a pretty good rate.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, it'll average out to around 30-ish to a little bit more per game for a season ticket.
It's not bad at
And I got
all.
priority because I'd had season tickets for this will be year 5 now.
Because it's a brand new
stadium.
state-of-the-art facility.
I think in terms of affordability, it may be the best ticket in town. I used to say that about Vanderbilt baseball, and then it's been sold out for a decade. And
Don't say
you
it
got to deal with it.
You can't go anywhere.
And you got to deal with the Wizard.
Well, yeah, but you can get over that.
Sorry to Jim Wyatt. I
Yeah,
know he doesn't like if we bring that up because it's old stuff.
And by the way,
he's not wrong, but
and
we're
by the
still
way,
going to do it again this year.
condolences to our friend Jim who lost his mother.
Yeah,
last year.
man.
We do want to say that publicly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it is a great ticket in terms of the price point. You're going to have a stadium that I think is, especially this first year, going to be sold out at around 30,000 seats.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun with a very good team.
In the summertime in Nashville, to put a bow.
I mean,
on
it gets hot.
Yeah,
It gets hot.
But this is also your point too about going to a soccer game. You got 90 minutes and you're out.
This is the best part about it.
I agree with that.
Take the sport.
Sure.
Even if you don't like the sport, you're in and out in 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's it. You're there and you're done in 2 hours. Where if it's an NFL game, 3.5. If it's a college football game, especially if it's Tennessee, 4.
If you're on CBS,
Yeah.
You know,
pack a lunch, dinner, and breakfast.
yeah, the Predators are under 3 hours, which that's also good. But the fact that you can go to a Nashville SC game and be in and out of there, even if you're there a little bit before the game, in 2 hours, 15 minutes, you can't beat it.
What's crazy, I never paid attention to the time of the game. Well, I guess because I've been playing it, but I never knew like people got restless when it comes down to just being at events. It never registered. Yeah,
You get bored.
Yeah.
I mean, we suggested that, Shafe, when we were at AEW. We were watching what they were doing during commercial breaks. And that's something I've always paid attention to because it's a product for the people in the building as well as the people watching television. I was a little bit shocked that AEW was not more
Very bare bones.
like during the break. It was, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. And it was no videos on the screen.
Counting down from 90
No people
seconds.
cutting promos just in the building for people in Nashville. And this is stuff I've seen other organizations do. I've even seen people that work for AEW do it in other organizations.
And that's something that the Predators have done extremely
Yeah, they
well
have.
for so long. I mean, I like to bang on them in terms of the jersey and all the banners being raised, although Pecorine, of course, should be raised up there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the in-game experience, for years, you could not do better.
The
than Nashville
worst
Predators.
that I've ever seen was UFC when it was at Bridgestone. A handful of years ago, I was there with a couple of folks, and it was 20-minute downtime at least between fights. And it was I can't remember, it was a pay-per-view, it was a television card. It was like Owen St. Preux was in the main event, and Amanda Nunes in one of her first ever fights and all this kind of stuff. It was dreadful. They played high-end, loud techno music in the building between fights for like 20 minutes while they're setting all these things up on TV. I'm speechless at how bad it was. It was
not great, Bob.
Horrible. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. So a nice win for Nashville SC over Seattle. And hopefully going to be a good year. Hopefully going to be a fun year. I'm sure we will be there.
Oh, for sure.
Before the end of the
I
year.
had people text me about it by saying, no, it's not a bad ticket and not a bad seat in the stadium.
Not at all.
No, I look forward to going out there. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. If you've got a home, you probably look around and all of a sudden you just start to notice things. And sometimes you think maybe your mind's playing tricks on you, maybe not. Foundation issues, when you hear that, you don't really know exactly what that means. The cracks in your bricks. How serious is this issue? Your bowing basement wall or a chimney that's leaning or waterproofing issues. You're just not really sure exactly what is going on. Your concrete's sinking. You can tell it with your steps. Something's just wrong, or you think something's wrong. So you want to call somebody, but you don't want it to be like going to a car mechanic where you're just like, well, I'm taking it in to get the oil change. Can't wait to spend $600 on this new alternator that I probably don't need. You need people that you can trust that are also going to be willing to say, you know what, right now things are okay. And that's United Structural Systems. They've been here for over 25 years with off-the-charts reputation and integrity, like 100%. And the reason why is because you can trust them. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, locally owned, not a franchise. I met with them a couple of weeks ago. They've been with us here on JMart and Ramon since day one. They just flat out care. They would rather have your business long-term than have your business today if you don't need them. But if you think there might be an issue, you got to have somebody that knows what to look for and is going to be honest and upfront with you from day one. And that's United Structural Systems. They come out, they give you an estimate. And sometimes you're going to find out that estimate is zero. And sometimes it's going to be a lot less than you thought it was going to be. And then you have the opportunity to make the decision. They'll tell you exactly what's going on. They'll tell you how serious it is, how quickly it needs to be addressed, what the plan is, everything. And then you don't have to pay a dime until the work's done. So that's the very last step in the process. Over 22,000 now satisfied customers and counting can tell you, make this phone call. It only gets worse. Your home can get devalued. You just need that peace of mind that things are okay with the foundation and the structural issues with your home. Call USS today, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275, or visit them online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. Adam Schefter reporting a letter from Kyler Murray's agent to the Cardinals, which says, pay me. I want to be with the Cardinals and win the Super Bowl.
But pay me.
I'm committed to winning the Super Bowl, committed to being with the Cardinals. I don't have the letter directly in front of me. ESPN hasn't even put it up on the website yet, but they just broke it on TV like 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, it's all about money, which we kind of thought it was.
Lengthy letter, too.
That's an agent, man.
This is an opening to it. Kyler wants to be direct with loyal Arizona Cardinals fans and the great community of the Valley in stating his two very important goals and objectives. One.
Dollars.
One.
Cents.
He absolutely wants to be your long-term quarterback. What does that mean, Jason?
Pay me and extend me. I don't want this fifth-year option nonsense. I want about 44 a year.
Mm-hmm. Two. This is after one, obviously. But I'm just saying, when you see the significance of what
that one, please. We're gonna need that one.
Put the obviously at the end of it. Two, he desperately wants to win the Super Bowl.
Everything you're going to read off that letter, I'm going to play. Because now he's trying to win the hearts and minds of Cardinals fans in order to get
see a
that
Shane
new
McMahon
deal.
thring the worst punches in human history that are hurting people.
This is all I hear when you read that letter. That's all it is.
So this is the next part after the second point from his agent. It's only 2 points. Pay me, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. So why haven't you? Never mind. Achieving both goals will take incredible commitment from himself and the entire organization. I thought when they went and got Nook, they went and got AJ, they went and got JJ.
They went and got
Connor.
They went and got all the initials.
JC,
AJ, JJ,
JC, James Conner,
all of them.
OMG, WTF,
NUK,
PDQ,
KB,
KK, and we'll stop right there.
Stop right there. Yeah, no, not the third one. But Kyler's had tools. You were leading the NFC West for a good bit of this season. The NFC West we thought was one of the, if not the best division. So what happened this year towards the latter part of the season,
What
Jay?
always happens with Cliff Kingsbury teams, and at least so far, the same thing happens to Kyler Murray's teams in the NFL. They limp to the finish line. They walk over, but they limp back. They started out 7-0 before losing to Green Bay on Thursday night, 24-21.
Yeah.
And then beating San Francisco. So they started out 8-1. And then they proceeded to lose 4 of their last 5 to the Rams. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh.
The Lions, plenty wrong with that. The Colts,
Yep.
at home. The Seahawks, who were dead and didn't care.
Dead in the water.
The only team they beat was Dallas.
There's something that I think we can take from this letter, number one.
Pay me?
Is that
money?
But it's also this. If Arizona fully believed in Kyler, they were willing to move on Kyler right now, why does his agent have to publicly release a statement like this?
We will address that question after the top of the hour headlines. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Mortgage interest rates are still sitting at an all-time low level, but I think if you've been watching the news, they are about to start going up. So if you've been sitting on the fence and wanting to get a refi, or if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. Again, you got to stop waiting for a lower rate because, trust me, they will not stick around for much longer. Right now, the interest rates are still sitting around the low 2%, which means by refinancing your 30-year mortgage, the home loan expert can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month with a simple refi. And the thing is, are you struggling a little bit with bills and debt? I'm here to tell you, though, your home is your biggest asset. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash-out refi. It can lower your monthly payments and give you cash to pay off that debt and have you skip a few mortgage payments. So if you're looking to expand your home and make some much-needed home improvements, then make your largest asset work with you with a cash-out refi through the home loan expert. The average homeowner last year got about $52,000 out of their refi. So these are the things that you can do, and you got to visit thehomeloanexpert.com. So if you've been sitting at home watching people sell their homes and watching homes listing, they are going fast. So getting pre-approved is key to finding your dream home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, they can lock in your interest rate, project your payments, and get you pre-qualified. So when you find that right home, you can submit that offer and close on it. TheHomeLoanExpert.com are doing more home loans than ever and closing purchases in less than 20 days. So don't wait. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
8:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Shaffer. The boys in gold with the victory in Seattle. Annabelle Godoy scored in the 80th minute as Nashville SC held on for a 1-0 win over the Seattle Sounders last night. The season opener for both teams. The boys in gold back in action Saturday at Minnesota United. Major League Baseball, the league, and the Players Association still remain far apart on a new collective bargaining agreement. There isn't a new CBA by the end of negotiations today. Opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. To the hardwood, women's basketball yesterday. Number 8 LSU held off the 16th-ranked Lady Vols 57-54. Alabama defeated Vanderbilt 77-71. Bracket out for the SEC women's basketball tournament in Nashville. That'll be running Wednesday through Sunday. Tennessee earned the number 3 overall seed for the second straight season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening, third hour? JMart and Ramon on the air here on 104.5 The Zone. Glad to be with you. Blessed to do it. We're brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. All4seasonsgarages.com. Living NFL veteran involved for life. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Shaffer, and Jason Martin. Ramon was back in K-Town. Did you see VFL Bowser while you were out there?
I did not, man. And I did not see
But he
our
was
guy.
nearby.
I'll tell you who was nearby. I actually talked to him for a quick second. Brian Harsin.
There you go.
He was there in effect and unbothered. Unbothered, Jay.
Does that thing actually just look like a hit job?
It was a hit job. It was a hit job. Because there's a few things that happen.
How misplaced are your priorities?
Auburn.
If you went to that level.
Come on now.
Well, look, we don't know
Ain't
because
got a
we're
clue.
not either one of the two individuals mentioned or anything like that. So maybe it turns out all of it is true. Who knows? But you got to want to win in a way that's unhealthy to do stuff like that.
I wanted to have a conversation with him, like, man, I appreciate how you went about your work. You just to let them know, like, man, they came for you. They came for you, and you stood tall and all of that, man. I shook his hand. We talked for like a couple seconds. I didn't want to go that far into it because he was pretty much the enemy at that point, you know. But he was there. Tony Vitello was there. The hair was wet from coming out from in the rain and playing the game. They had a monstrous weekend this weekend as far as scoring points. The Vols baseball team did. But seeing Harsin, and when I initially saw him, I was like, I know that face. You know, it was one of them situations. I was like, yeah. Somebody said,
He'll be on with Buck later on today.
Harsin?
No, Vitello.
Oh, Vitello. Yeah.
Dude, the Lady Vol fans, man.
Yeah.
The ladies in Vol Nation, they want them some Tony Vitello. Y'all, we see what you're doing on Twitter and social media, all right?
The summons horn is out.
Calm down.
Tony V, and what's so crazy?
Prima Nocta.
Yeah. 2 words, thirst trap. Thirst trap Tony.
He's just walking around just like a dude, man, just real chill. And Tony V might as well be Bobby Valentino.
The ladies
or
in Vol
somebody.
Nation getting the vapors on the Tony V.
Tony V got him wild, man. Harsin, they thought had him wild, and
Like I said,
shut it off.
That's a wild story.
But it's crazy because now here he is, I'm sure, flying on the team jet to Knoxville for a top 5 game. And I'm thinking to myself, he's still in. So what do y'all do now, Auburn? Do you just let Harsin do his thing? Because you lost, honestly, as far as his public perception went. As far as everything around that situation, it got deaded. It got deaded real fast and almost in an embarrassing way, too. I'll say this again. Thank goodness UT is a little bit past those type of situations, man. That sucks. That sucks, man.
I need to know more about that whole situation.
I don't know if we're going to get more, Jay.
I don't either, but
it seemed like it was nothing there.
We call ourselves the Auburn family, but we're more like the Game of Thrones, a source close to the program said. Okay.
At any point in time, if you in that chair full of knives, what happens, Jay?
You know, you have the Tennessee dysfunction we've had for 2 decades, and then Auburn's over there in the SEC West saying, "Hold my beer,
hold my peach crown."
Straight up. Like I said, at least it's not us this time around. At least it's not us, dog. God, Auburn, have fun with that. SEC, baby, it means more. That goes a lot of different ways, man. It means more.
That is wild. Kyler Murray's agent, Eric Burkhart, sent a letter to the Cardinals. Murray wants a new deal, a detailed contract proposal outlining exactly what he's looking for. Now, they're not mentioned in the statement, of course, so we don't know exactly. Quote, he absolutely wants to be your long-term quarterback. He desperately wants to win the Super Bowl. Actions speak much louder than words in this volatile business. It is now simply up to the Cardinals to decide if they prioritize their rapidly improving 24-year-old, already 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback who led the organization from 3 wins before his arrival to 11 wins in their first playoff appearance in 5 years. Are you also going to use that same sentiment for your other client, Cliff Kingsbury? Get them both paid? Is that the plan? Fourth year of a 5-year rookie contract this year. They're going to exercise the option, or that's what they want to do. My guess is that's what Kyler doesn't want him to do because he's ready to get paid right now. I'm very curious to know. I'm sure somehow we'll figure out to some degree what he's looking for.
Oh, yeah.
But if he's looking for Josh Allen money, that kind of thing, I just wonder if Arizona at all hesitates or if they just, bend the knee.
Game of Thrones again, right? Cap tracker. Where's Arizona as far as money available for them?
Also, actions speak much louder than words. Does that include cleansing your Instagram and get rid of all your Cardinal stuff as a negotiating tactic?
Right now, Arizona has about $2.7 million of available cap space.
How much?
2.7.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot. DeAndre Hopkins, for sure, is taking the biggest hit of it all. His cap hit is $25 million. DJ Humphries, the left tackle. J.J. Watt is up there. Budda Baker, Jordan Phillips. They got a bunch of guys that are, taking a good chunk of this cap, but Kyler is definitely one to be numero uno. Is he wrong for it? No, absolutely not.
He wants to be the highest paid guy?
I would say so.
I mean, he's next in line. He wants to treat it like next in line. Remember I told you Baker would reset the market because they're not going to pay him next in line money? Kyler, they might. I don't think they win a Super Bowl because of that, but I don't know what else they've got. I don't know what other option they have.
I'll say this, though, to Kyler's defense. Everything that he's needed or what was required of him, he's done it. Number 1 overall pick, come in and played. Did really well. Did he win Rookie of the Year his first year?
I don't think so, but I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
He's done that. He chose football over baseball. Smart decision on him because he's at that point. He's made that team more competitive offensively. So he's knocked it off. That his win-losses, whether they fall off towards the end of the season or not, they're still competing in the NFL as far as being one of the more relevant. So he did win.
He won
NFL.
it in 19, yeah.
He won Offensive Player, the Rookie of the Year. Also, Pro Bowl. He's gotten a couple, I think, under his belt now. So all signs point to him being in that direction that you're next up. Again, it comes down to the factor what we always speak about. Once you pay him, does that window close as far as your Super Bowl goes? And Kyler and the Arizona Cardinals hadn't capitalized on this. And what I was getting to before the end of the last break was this. Everybody know Kyler's up for his 5th-year option. Arizona knows it. Kyler knows it. His agent knows it. Heck, we as fans know it now.
He knows there's a payday coming.
But he don't want to wait on it. So the thing is where he doesn't want to wait on it, I look at Arizona needs more from him, which is why they're choosing not to, which is why, to me, his agent putting out this letter to Arizona publicly is his point of trying to sway the public perception of what Arizona needs to be doing. Because I think in their minds, they're not fully sold to commit At this point, honestly, $40 million. If Aaron Rodgers has reports that he wants 50, Kyler, if he's next in line, is due to get 40-ish.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I just threw out like 43 somewhere in there. Aaron's calling for 50.
He's calling for 50. So the floor has been raised. I don't know if Arizona's commitment to Kyler is suggesting they want to pay him that much. So which they want another year. But he's done everything you've asked him to do.
Can he make himself toxic in this situation if he has to in order to nullify that 5th year and get paid now? Does he have the power? Is that this whole plan, this whole idea from start to finish is seeing just how much power he actually has over this situation?
This right now. That's this 100%. I don't want to ask the question, do I believe he's a Super Bowl quarterback?
Like I said, we got, luckily we can do it at 9 potentially. We'll jump back into this. We've got Mike McCarthy of Front Office Sports on the other side, and we can talk to him about this as well. I also want to look, because I brought up all the rookies. I want to look at the rookies of the year from 2000 on and see how many of them have panned out in terms of great careers. So I think it's an interesting list, to say the least. We'll be back with Mike McCarthy. A lot going on, obviously, the Mickelson stuff, all of the chairs that are going to change in terms of broadcasting in the upcoming year, and how big of a just bomb was the Olympics for NBC. We'll talk all about all of that when we come back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Baker Burwell is the disability brokerage financial professionals can count on to deliver disability insurance education, products, and services. If I ask you what is your most valuable asset, more times than not, you're going to tell me it's your home. Well, think again. It is your income that helps pay for that home. And this may sound crazy, but let me explain this. Let's say you make $150,000 a year and you're 35 years old. Even if you never get a pay raise, you'll make $4.5 million in your working lifetime. And I'm guessing your house is a little bit less than $4.5 million, even in this crazy Nashville housing market. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't a thought about insuring my income or my career, but I'm sure the same applies to you as well. Have you considered what would happen if you couldn't continue your career due to health or an injury? For 2 or 3% of your income, you can insure it up to 60% tax-free. Don't let your next paycheck be your last paycheck. And one thing we've learned is this, is bad things do happen to good people. But Baker Burwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents when providing solutions and income protection. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor to make sure you are properly insured. And the best thing about them, they are local, and they simply just want to see their community be protected. So give them a call at 615-309-5958 or visit the website at bakerburwell.com.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by all 4 seasons garage doors in Nashville. Kyler Murray's agent, part of the letter. In line with the current quarterback market. So that's one thing. Yeah. He wants to get paid.
Yeah, he does.
He wants to get paid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it even talks about how do the Cardinals prioritize their rapidly improving quarterback. He popped his collar when he wrote that piece, when he wrote that letter.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did, man. Basically said, watch me do work here.
He does say part of it is they want to lower his cap numbers so they can sign other people.
That means a big old guarantee.
Means agent's got other clients.
He's like,
Then he wants to locate everybody in Arizona.
How deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down.
Let's go to the Marsh Main Real Estate Hotline. Michael McCarthy, Front Office Sports, is on with us. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty well. It's been interesting, to say the least. Obviously, the Super Bowl is a big-time business deal, and we can talk a little bit about that. But I saw your headline from a day or two ago about Sean Payton and how Fox is going to make him the number one guy. You tell me, is that just a slam dunk TV guy or what? Like, if they're going to potentially make him the guy with Joe Buck, they must really feel like he is a superstar in the booth.
I think they do. He's got all the qualifications you need. He's won a Super Bowl. He's an offensive genius, and he knows the Fox people. I mean, the quickest way to the broadcast booth now for a quarterback or a coach is these pre-production meetings that they hold on Fridays and Saturday nights before games. That's when the quarterbacks and the coaches get to know the producers and the directors of the network that's showing their game, and vice versa. Peyton knows Fox very well, and Fox knows Peyton very well. He's been in the NFC his entire professional career. And don't forget, guys, remember when Sean Payton was banned for a year without pay, and he was anathema, due to Bountygate?
Mm-hmm.
The only network that offered him a job that year was Fox.
That's a really interesting point about the pre-production meetings, because it makes you wonder if agents are telling their guys, hey, these pre-production meetings are almost like mild auditions. It's just like, yeah, that's really – I'd never really thought of it that way. The other thing that's interesting about this to me is just there's all the speculation about him being a Cowboys coach in waiting. Would Fox want to commit this for a year if indeed all of that – there's actually some fire behind that smoke in terms of him potentially taking over in a year or two in Dallas?
Well, to your first point, I mean, they are – auditions. CBS was very, very open about the fact that the reason they hired Tony Romo to replace a 20-year incumbent in Phil Simms was he'd impressed them so much in these production meetings. To your second point is this is very much a calculated risk by Fox. Do you invest the time and the money into a guy who could leave the second Mike McCarthy gets fired by Jerry Jones? Or do you build around a younger guy like Greg Olson and try to make him a 20-year analyst like they did with Troy Aikman? So, I mean, what I'm hearing is they are willing to take that risk. And, maybe Sean Payton loves TV. And, he stays for 5-10 years like Gruden did. So it is a calculated risk.
So it sounds as if, and you mentioned Olson, and we love Olson. Like, I think he's a superstar. It's like he's starting his own podcast network. Everybody seems to understand that he is not just a rising star, but he's a rising superstar in this industry. Do you look at it, maybe Fox knows, as long as they're able to keep Olson around, which I guess that could potentially be up in the air. If Peyton leaves, they know that they could potentially put him in that Aikman role if Aikman's headed to ESPN or headed to Amazon or somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that is the plan. It all depends on Olson. I mean, Olson himself has options. He's got a studio gig waiting for him at Amazon if he wants it. He could go back to the NFL. I heard he's had front office and coaching offers. Like you said, he's going all in on his media career. He's got a podcast network. So, I mean, if I'm Greg Olson, I'm playing the long game here. If they want to hire, Sean Payton for a year, and then, Jerry Jones gets the itch and hires him for the Cowboys, and then I slip into the job. But, if it looks like Sean Payton gets the job and he's there for years, for a decade, then if I'm Greg Olson, I'm looking at my options.
What actually changed the way the analysts, game callers, these players that go to this to the booth and coaches go to the booth? What actually changed the demand to where it's, hey, we need a guy? Because these aren't just, hey, you do this for a year, that's $2 million. No, we're talking about double-digit $1 million and nine-figure deals for guys to call games. Has that always been the case?
No, and that's a great point. I mean, there's been a quantum change in this. For a long time, the NFL broadcasting ranks were static.
Mm-hmm.
You had the same people in the same jobs for 10, 15, 20 years. They made good money, $5-6 million a year, but nothing like they're making now. Two things changed. Tony Romo reset the market with a record-setting $18 million a year deal. I mean, that was literally double what everybody else was making. So as soon as Tony Romo got that deal with CBS 2 years ago, everybody and their mother started saying, I want a raise. I want Tony Romo money. You know what I mean? And not just the analysts, the play-by-players, the Joe Bucks and the Al Michaels. Now everybody wants a raise. Two is the power of the NFL. I mean, you guys and I are in the media business. We know that nothing else touches the NFL in terms of ratings, in terms of audience interest. So when that was reinforced to such an extent this year that the NFL is number one, not just in sports and entertainment, the network started to say, all right, then we have to pay our top NFL talent commensurate with what we're paying for the rights. And that's been great for the talent. It's been great for the agents. Hasn't been great for the networks, but it's been great for the talent.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, Tony said in the market, can I ask you this? Because I feel like the same thing that got Tony to reset the markets is the same thing people are getting a little peeved by. Was it his just Nostradamus, like, hey, watch this play unfold right here? Like, wasn't anybody before him giving clues to what was going to happen, why it happened, what made his position so unique to where now we got just people in job positions? Like I think Herb Herbstreit is being brought up by Amazon. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of names that are about to shift, almost like a media free agency?
Yeah. It's funny. The more things change, the more things stay the same. We're all talking about all the money these guys are making. But if you go back 20, 25 years ago, John Madden made more money than any player in the NFL.
Wow. Yeah.
He was the single most valued talent in the NFL, and he hadn't coached in 20 years. He literally ended up working for every single network, ABC, ESPN, NBC, CBS, Fox, and he made more money than anybody in the league. So, I mean, now we're getting back to that. But to Tony Romo's, what he did was he brought a fresh eye. What had happened is you had guys like Phil Simms, who'd been off the field for 25 years, and they knew the game, but they didn't know the modern NFL, the modern pass-crazy NFL. Tony Romo could sit there in the booth and tell you what the next play is because he's been in the quarterback room watching game film of offenses and defenses of the modern NFL. That was that kind of fresh eye really woke people up. Said, "Oh my gosh, we need somebody who's right off the field."
Mm-hmm. Mike McCarthy, Front Office Sports, joining us here on JMart and Ramon. Michael, read a good piece in a Wall Street Journal from Jason Gay about Phil Mickelson being his own worst enemy on and off the course. Like we saw what he did at Winged Foot. We've also seen him, step into it from time to time. He can be really charismatic like he was on the Manning cast. And then he can have you wouldn't call it a kerfluffle now. It's bigger than that, the situation with the Saudi Golf League and the PGA. How much has he hurt himself in terms of commercially, from a business perspective, reputation-wise, over the last couple of weeks?
It's the worst blow-up since Tiger Woods. I covered the Tiger Woods blow-up when news of his marital infidelities came out and all the crazy stuff about that Thanksgiving night crash. And one by one, all his sponsors dropped him. And I've never seen anything like it until Phil Mickelson. And what's happening is sponsors move fast now. With Tiger Woods, it was a matter of months. It was a steady drip, drip, drip. In Mickelson, it's been a week. I mean, you talk about Callaway possibly dropping him. I mean, Callaway's one of the biggest names in golf. So yeah, it's been a huge blow up. It's been the worst I've seen since Tiger. But I do think Phil can recover from this because Phil has a reservoir of goodwill that Tiger in many ways didn't have. Tiger was always sort of a cold fish. You know what I mean? We admired him, but we didn't, we weren't in love with his personality. Well, Phil still has, as you said, that great charisma and that likability and that reservoir of goodwill from signing 8 billion autographs that he could come back from this.
NBC and the Olympics, how poorly did this go for the network?
Disaster. All-time lowest ratings, genocide games. I mean, they were roundly destroyed. Terrific U.S. athletes, performing poorly. There were a couple of great feel-good stories. I thought Julia Marino with the Prada snowboard making worldwide headlines for high fashion meets the slopes was a great story. I thought Lindsay Jacob Ellis coming back after that disaster 20 years ago and winning gold was a great story. But, yeah, I mean, it was so bad, such a disaster for NBC that you really have to question, if I'm at NBC, my long-term future with the Olympics.
Just the business also, too, of the NFL offseason. Jay read off a little bit of Kyler Murray's agent, pretty much a letter to Arizona Cardinals, but it was for the world to see. We're seeing them create a narrative for himself. We've seen other players, Aaron Rodgers, doing the exact same thing, too. How much power can players have moving forward trying to adjust what their perception is from the fan base, from the nation, and just in general moving forward?
I think they can increase it a lot. I think they can double their power. What we're seeing is the NBAization of the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where these star players want to control their own destinies and want to control who their coaches are and who their GMs are, and especially who they play with and where. And I think it's great. The old saying about the NFL was, the players were the cattle and the owners were the ranchers. Well, it's good to see the cattle get some power into this. It's also another good point is what we're seeing right now is kind of a master class in negotiating across the NFL, right?
Yep.
Not just the players, but coaches and head broadcasters. Everybody is taking this master class in negotiating, and it's fun to watch.
Biggest winners from the Super Bowl from a financial perspective. Obviously, NBC does well because everybody's watching the network and all, but sponsors, all that kind of stuff. Who do you think the biggest winners were?
Well, I mean, if I'm the Rams, I think they're clearly the biggest. They were all in, trading all these draft picks, and I've always believed that draft picks are more promised than reality. People get too in love with the draft picks. So, I mean, the Rams going out there and winning a game that they seriously could have lost. At one point, I thought the Bengals were going to open it up on them, especially with no OBJ in the lineup. So they're the biggest winners. And the second biggest winner is the NFL. I mean, they cracked the 100 million mark for viewers for the first time in 5 years in the Super Bowl, and they blew it away. It was something like 115 million viewers. So, I mean, if anybody needed any proof for the power and the glory of the NFL, those Super Bowl ratings are it.
How's this thing going to end with Major League Baseball?
If there's one sport that shoots itself in the foot more often than anybody else, it's Major League Baseball. I don't think we're going to see the start of the season. I think we're going to see everything pushed back. I think it's going to be, the biggest financial hit for the league since going back to the strike in '94. I mean, there's really nothing good to say about this. There's no movement. I mean, you've got fans dying for pitchers and catchers. You got fans dying for spring training. And, here's Major League Baseball self-destructing again while the NFL reaches bigger and bigger heights.
It's just insane to me. And one more from me on the NFL side real quick, too. You speak about the Rams winning big and the NFL winning big, too. Well, there was an organization about 2 years ago that won big, and that was the Tampa Bay Bucks. For the most part, it seemed like they're losing time, whether he's really retiring or not. They lost AB during the season. Gronk is possibly out, too, at some point. And they just had a 28-year-old Pro Bowl guard, Ali Marpet, retire today with $10 million pretty much guaranteed for him on his salary. What do you make of that? I don't know what his health issues are, but a 28-year-old retiring super quick, I know the money is different than it was in the early 90s, so guys get comfortable quicker. Does this seem to be a trend that we may, expect considering the position and what guys want out of this game?
I think it's more of an outlier than a trend.
Okay.
I really do, because you're right. There have been examples of, NFL players in their mid to late 20s suddenly retiring. But I think the trend would probably be more the other way, particularly for our offensive players. As the rules protect quarterbacks more and protect receivers more from these, potentially devastating hits, I think, people like Brady are going to try to play longer and longer. Brady playing till, 44, he's a medical marvel. But I think if you look at somebody like Rodgers, he's in such great shape. If he wants to, he can play till he's 40.
Do you truly believe Tom is done?
No, I don't.
Because he's still breathing.
One of the funny things about covering sports is, all athletes I've talked to say, "Oh, I want to spend time with my family," and then after 6 months of taking Junior to soccer practice and taking, Susie to ballet, you know what I mean? They miss the guys, they miss the routine, they miss the field, and a lot of them make comebacks. So I think, we're going to see Tom make a comeback just like Michael Jordan.
How scared is Adam Silver that the Lakers are going to miss the playoffs and not be a part of the discussion? Because I see ESPN still trying to lead off every hour on the hour with the Lakers are 9th in the West. They're basically irrelevant at this point. But without them, what is the NBA?
Even the ESPN analysts are like, enough with the Lakers already.
Yeah.
I think Adam Silver, knows he's got talent elsewhere. I think James Harden going to Philly is, really interesting, because now you got 2, 3, 4 powerhouse teams in the East. So, I think they'll live. They had their glory run in L.A. LeBron got his ring there. To tell you the truth, if I'm the Lakers, I'm thinking about trading LeBron. You know what I mean? Maybe getting something for him, because obviously, this experiment is coming to an end in L.A.
One quick one. Biggest disaster or bigger disaster, the Winter Olympics or the dunk contest?
That's a great one. I think purely on aesthetics, it's the dunk contest. But from a global business standpoint, it's the Winter Olympics. To have a Winter Olympics in, a communist country and the protests and the lack of interest and clearly, the lowest ratings in history, much bigger disaster.
Yeah. You're the best, Michael. We appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Indeed. That's Michael McCarthy, Front Office Sports. Yeah, man, the dunk contest.
Oh, that's crazy. I saw better dunks from social media basketball players than I did from NBA players.
I definitely performed better dunks with Bill Clinton in NBA Jam.
Yeah, that's right. He was.
Way more. Bill Clinton was a beast in that game.
Yes, he was. Oh, wow. He needs to bring that back, the old version of it. I don't need them to just redo it. Make it cool.
When we come back, we'll do birthdays.
Will we? Uh-oh.
And then at the top of the hour, we're going to look at the Rookies of the Year through the years as Kyler is trying to get his money right now, according to his agent. But next, we'll embarrass Ramon Foster. It's JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone. Who was born in 1979?
You?
Shaffer, you know what I did, right?
Yes, but that's the name of the song.
Name of the song is 1979. Smashing Pumpkins.
And you tied it into the birthday segment.
I
Correct.
didn't know where you were going with that.
Mario Andretti's 82 today, going through some of the sports birthdays.
IndyCar. I'll tell you, Luka Doncic's birthday today is
23.
because I can't believe he's only 23.
Wait a minute, he's only 23?
Yeah.
What?
So he's playing basketball at like 15. He's like
gonna
Riho.
say, feels like he's been in the league for like 5 or 6 years.
I know.
Tayshaun Prince is 42.
Hey,
One of the great
Kentucky.
defenders you will ever see.
Tayshaun. Pistons too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Arozarena, 27. Aroldis Chapman, 34.
The cannon boy, he got an arm.
Yep.
God, dog.
Eric Lindros, 49. Speaking of number 1 overall picks.
Still shook up from the
Philadelphia
Kasperitis hit.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's some names today on the NFL list.
Okay.
Carlos Dunlap,
Hey.
Jason Pierre-Paul, both 33.
Hold up. Dunlap's only there, 32?
Jamil Douglas, 30, suited up for the Titans. Jason Kroom, who played at Tennessee, is 28.
Mm-hmm.
Tier Tart is 25.
My guy. Happy
We all
birthday.
Todd Haley's 55.
Todd's birthday today. Yep. He was down in Florida hanging out with Alejandro and De Castro this past week. I'm sure that was.
By the way, those are two large humans standing next to Todd Haley. I saw the photo.
I bet.
Good Lord.
I can't wait to ask him what did they talk about.
Like, you're a big guy. Big Al's bigger than you.
Al made me look short.
He's legit 6'7".
No. Al is legit 6'10".
6'10"?
He's 6'10".
Whoa.
Rory Cochran is 50, Moan. You got no chance, but you can try.
Is that Johnny's nephew?
It's not even spelled the same.
I like the guess, though.
It could be.
I like it.
It could be.
That's got to be.
Rory's not probably the name I would expect, but it could be.
Hey, I've seen some Liams and some Aidens. Dead Man Down.
All I can tell you is Slater from Dazed to Confused is probably the most important thing he's done. But he was on CSI Miami for a long time.
Okay.
Lemony Snicket is 52.
Come on, man. This is what? Was he on Cartoon Network? Lemony Snicket? What is that? A dance?
Do you not remember the movie?
No.
Lemony Snicket's a children's set of books. Right?
No, I do not remember that.
Jim Carrey played him in the movies,
Yep.
I believe.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Lemony Snicket is also the author, changed his name to Lemony Snicket. It's Daniel Handler is his real name.
Not ringing a bell at all. I might have missed that era.
You don't know who Lemony, you've never heard of Lemony
Heard
Snicket
the
before?
I only know from the movie.
I mean, me too.
No.
I didn't know there was a series of books and an author.
I just thought you were going to be
Me
like,
either.
hey, children's books.
No.
Jim Carrey. And instead you were like, come on, man.
I had no idea. Lemony Snickets. No. What happened? Yeah, that was me.
Radon Chong is 61.
Color Purple. I knew that one.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Other things as well. Many
Yeah,
other things.
Many other things.
John Turturro, the great John Turturro,
Oh, yeah.
65.
I know him because he's my movie lane, Mr. Deeds, when he stuck him in his foot with the black foot.
And no one messed with the Jesus.
Yes.
I am
Big
Mr.
Lebowski.
Deeds. Yeah. He's been around for a long time, too.
Great character actor.
Gilbert Gottfried is 67.
You know where I first remember him from? Problem Child.
That's right. Hate that movie with a passion.
Dude,
actually, I like the first one was all right. The second one made me sick in the theater.
Because
Problem Child 2 was horrendous.
Horrendous.
One of the
wasn't
worst
bad.
movies I've ever seen. First one was fine.
Are y'all serious?
The second one's awful.
The second one was terrible.
Love
The
Problem
second
Child.
one was Hangover 3 bad.
No, Hangover 2 bad. Hangover 3 is better than 2.
So let me explain my love
wrong.
for that, though. Not having cable, that was one of those VHSs that we had and we continuously played all the time. So I loved it because of that.
Problem Child 2, I hated it as a kid. I was so
loved
excited
it.
because I liked the first one.
Oh, no. That's right up. God, y'all let me down with that.
Ali Larder is 46. There's a reason why almost everybody in our audience probably knows her.
People of a certain age.
Centerfold,
No, but
I mean, that's not.
she was in Maxim.
Playmate of the Year type?
No.
No, it's a little
Oh.
too far in that direction.
Okay.
You ever seen Varsity Blues?
Is that the shaving cream?
Whipped cream.
Your face lit up like a Christmas tree.
Because that was the one where it's like, do I turn my head? Do I watch it? Do I turn my head or do I watch?
Also, Jason Aldean is 45.
Hey, now, country music.
Yeah, he's
probably got a $1,000 cowboy hat.
He was at the Predators game the other day.
Yeah, I forgot to show y'all those hats.
I saw them.
I saw him.
You did pretty good today.
Travis Andrew. Is that the country? Is that the company?
Yes. Yes, it is. Travis, holla at your boy.
Hey, Madison Beatty is 27. No idea who this is, but there's a reason why I'm saying it.
I don't know.
One of my fraternity brothers, Desmond Beatty. I don't know Madison.
On a show called The Fosters.
Yeah. Oh, how about that?
Fourth hour of the show, JMart and Ramon coming up next. We'll talk about Rookie of the Year from the year on, from 2000. More on Kyler Murray plus John Glennon in 20 minutes here on The Zone.
It is 9:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shaffer. Major League Baseball, the league and the Players Association still remain far apart on a new collective bargaining agreement. If there isn't a new CBA by the end of negotiations today, opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. College basketball yesterday. Number 8, LSU held off the 16th-ranked Lady Vols 57-54. Alabama defeated Vanderbilt 77-71. The bracket's out for the SEC women's basketball tournament here in Nashville. That'll start Wednesday, finish up on Sunday. Tennessee, the number 3 overall seed for the second straight season. And Annabelle Godoy scored in the 80th minute as Nashville SC held on for a 1-0 win over the Seattle Sounders last night in rainy Seattle. It was a season opener for both teams in MLS. Boys in Gold back in action Saturday at Minnesota United. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Fourth hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Upon you, upon us, plus to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. You go there to learn more. I did, and then I had them put a brand new garage door opener apparatus in the house. Really smart decision. LiftMaster. Ask for it by name. Say you remember me. You've heard me on the radio before. You should get the same thing I got. Smart decision by you. Kyler Murray wants to get paid. His agent basically is making that clear.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying, yeah, you're going to pay me. I'm committed to winning a Super Bowl as long as you're committed to scratching me off about $45 million a year.
Run it up.
So I said this before we had Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports on last hour. I wanted to start at 2000. Interesting. You know what? We'll go back to 96 for a reason. 96 through now. Let's look at the rookies of the year and see how many of them have panned out after the fact. We need to keep some kind of tally of yes and no.
All right, let me write you down. I got you right here.
All right. 96, Eddie George. I think that one worked out.
Yeah.
97, Warwick Dunn. One of the most underrated players and people maybe in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah.
98, a gentleman by the name of Randy Moss.
Yeah.
99, Edgerrin James. Number 2 in 2000 from Denver, my team, Mike Anderson, the running back. Mm-hmm. It was short. He had a couple of years though. Nice run.
Yeah.
Remember he had the salute?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Up TD.
Yep.
2001, Anthony Thomas, running back with the Bears.
Yeah.
It's kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I don't remember too much from that.
2002, another Denver Broncos running back, Clinton Portis.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Who has not had a good year.
No. I think he's slated to go to jail this summer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, sad.
Anquan Bolden in 2003.
Really? Anquan?
One of the great possession receivers, I should say, ever.
Yes.
2004, gentleman by the name of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, panned out.
Yeah, let's debate that. Yeah. 2005, Cadillac Williams, running back in Tampa Bay.
Really? What does it say what kind of year he had?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
it doesn't have
I'll
the years
have to look that
directly
up.
in front, but I would say that one didn't pan out. 2006, gentleman by the name of Vince Young.
Wow.
I'd say that didn't work, but
wow. I'm going to go ahead and put an X through that one right now.
The highs were pretty high.
Yeah.
2007, another former Titan, Adrian Peterson.
What's wrong with you, man?
Titans legend.
Titans legend. I still think we got to check mark him.
I would say so.
Yes.
2008, quarterback Matt Ryan. No, I'd say
it's worked out.
He ain't got a Super Bowl, but he not because of him.
Right.
2009. Percy Harvin.
Percy? He's such a flash in the pan.
Stupid.
I kind of want to just not an X, but just a dash next to his.
Okay.
Because he's got the win. He got the second contract. He got some highlights.
2010, you just give the Kevin Durant, you the real MVP, Jiff. Sam Bradford, who has collected more money to do less than almost anybody you could ever find in the NFL.
He's the reason the CBA changed.
Yeah. 2011, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I'd say that panned out.
Yeah.
Then ended up being league MVP afterwards. 2012, Robert Griffin III.
I put an X beside that. His
It
analysts.
would have worked had he not gotten hurt, because he did look the part in Washington that first year. He just couldn't stay healthy. I think as an analyst, he can be very good. I like him a lot. I think I like the energy.
As long as he don't
brings.
get washed in, and you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
The hot takes that's eventually going to come.
Yeah, he needs to stay out of that. I agree with you. 2013, Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy?
He was rookie of the year, and then he ate himself out of the league, basically.
Putting an X beside that.
That didn't work, but boy, it was good that year.
I forgot.
That was a great year in Green Bay.
I wonder who was runner-up that year that now is looking like I should have won that trophy.
Yeah, I need to look that one up. 2014, gentleman by the name of Odell Beckham Jr.
I'll give a check mark on it. Even with his antics, he's still ball.
Oh, no, he's definitely a check mark. 2015, Todd Gurley.
It was real good
for a real short period of time.
For a real short period of time. So, because it didn't get a ring, Russian title, no. Put a dash beside him. Or we're going to be an X.
I would almost put an X. But, I mean, he got that big money. It was him and Zeke. And
then the next year, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Then they had to get rid of him because he was an albatross on their cap number. 2016. Dak Prescott. I would put a check mark, if for no other reason than look at where they got him.
Yeah. 4th round.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4th round. After getting beat up that summer by some TSU guys.
2017 VFL Alvin Kamara.
AK-47.
Hard to say that's not worked out.
Yeah, check mark him.
2018.
Why are you laughing? What?
Saquon Barkley.
So are we blaming him or are we blaming the Giants?
I mean, he's not a check mark right now.
No, he's
because
not.
He hasn't been able to stay healthy. Same reason a couple of these other guys are on this list.
So he's a dash?
He's got talent. I don't know what he looks like in a competent organization.
Yeah.
Like maybe we're about to see it. I don't know.
We dash him or we X him?
I would.
We Xing him?
Because his career's not over.
And he also had a year and some change off because of the ACL.
I would dash him.
Dash him. Okay.
2019 Kyler Murray. It's a check mark. Now, a lot's expected from a number 1 overall pick. He's made the playoffs once this year, was absolutely boat raced, but didn't have Nuck Hopkins.
Yeah.
And he has been to the Pro Bowl twice in 3 years. Hard not to say that's worthy. 2020 Justin Herbert.
I think we can check mark him.
We feel pretty good about the fact that he's probably a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. And this year, of course, JMart Chase. And we got to see what his career is after this. But every indicator is,
seems like
unless some really unfortunate thing happens, he's going to be around for a while. So how many guys didn't pan out? Seems like we had a decent amount of check marks.
16 check marks. And how many didn't pan out? Are you giving Mike Anderson a check? Because I put an X beside him and Ant Thomas.
I need to look at his numbers. You put an X beside who? Anthony Thomas and him.
Thomas.
I could see Thomas. So he came out of remember he did the Marine thing. He actually was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. Then he came back. He had, I want to see how many yards he had, because that would tell me. He had 4,000 yards, 37 rushing touchdowns. He didn't play for too long, but it was 5 years with Denver and another year with Baltimore. I think it's a flash in the pan. I would say it worked out in short term, but it wasn't a long-term thing.
All right, so it's from 96 all the way to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We got 16 check marks, meaning the offensive player of the year worked out. 8 X's, which means no, and then just 2 dashes where it's like it's yet to be seen. It was confusing between Percy Harvin and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Because Percy was hurt a whole lot, but he was super dynamic when he was out there. Kick returning, plays he made. I saw he was actually trending this past week because everybody was like, you want to talk about Deebo Samuels? No, let's talk about Percy. Mm-hmm. And Percy was doing the exact same thing for about 4 years.
He's quite as big as Deebo, so only difference.
Yeah, only different. So for me with him, it's almost like, God, Clinton Portis I think he's a yes. I think he's a check mark.
It worked out.
It worked out.
Not to the degree of some others, but he had a really nice run in Denver, and he was still pretty good in Washington. But that ended up being a win for Denver because they got Champ Bailey out of that deal.
Yeah.
And that worked out very well.
Yeah, so for the guys that got, we at least in our opinion, that didn't make it, you let me know if I'm off on what you think too. Mike Anderson, no. Ant Thomas, no. Cadillac Williams, no. Vince Young, no. Sam Bradford, no. RG3, no. Eddie Lacy, no. Todd Gurley, no.
So 8.
Yeah, 8.
I don't think I'd disagree with those. If you wanted to go to the start of the 90s, there's some big names. Emmitt Smith in 90.
Yeah.
Leonard Russell in 91, running back for the Patriots. I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea either.
Literally no idea. Carl Pickens in 92. Jerome Bettis with the Rams in 93. Marshall Faulk.
Hall of Famers.
In 94. Curtis Martin in 95. Literally all 3 of those guys. And then Eddie George in 96. Warwick Dunn in 97. It went to a running back for 5 years. And if you look through the 90s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rookies of the year.
Running backs,
and the other was a wide receiver. Not a single quarterback mentioned.
What changed, man?
And now, just in this decade alone, we've only had one, but since 2010, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks.
With how many receivers and running backs?
League has changed. 2 wide receivers, 3, 4 running backs.
Yep. Well, we got Saquon, Alvin, and Todd.
And Eddie.
4.
Stuff has changed.
It has changed.
The league has changed. We will discuss said league as well as the extravaganza at Nissan Stadium on Saturday for the Predators with John Glennon. He's next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. I want to talk to you about my pal Michael Ramsey and everybody, the staff over at PAI Medical. When it comes to hair loss, there's absolutely nobody else you should consider. I know you've seen the We Grow Hair billboards, and you've seen them, and it's weird because you see the guy on the left and the guy on the right, and you want to be the guy on the right, but you want it to look natural, and you don't want it to be an overnight thing. Good news is it's not. You can't really show that on a billboard, but it takes about a year. You lose a little bit, then you start to gain a little bit. Then about 5 to 6 months in, you start to see more and more pickup. But people that are around you every day don't even notice it. It would have to be people that you haven't seen in a couple of years that would then wonder exactly what happened. It's the most natural way. It's the safest way. It's the most advanced way, and affordable plans that can fit anyone's budget. Surgical, they got you. Non-surgical, they've got you. PRP, laser treatments, anything that you need. Nobody does hair better than them. This is what they specialize in. This is what they care about. If you go in, just say, look, take a couple of photos of me, show me what might be doable. They will. and it will blow you away. It'll knock your socks off. I wasn't having many issues, but I went and talked to him because I had some friends that had used them. And turns out what they said they could do seemed like it was worth the time, seemed like it was worth the cost, especially with payment plans that can fit anybody's budget. They've been in Nashville for over 25 years. I want you to call them just like I did, 615-376-6010. Talk to them. Let them show you what plan they might have for you. You'll be really, really surprised in a positive way at what they can do. And after you meet them, it's hard not to say yes because they're some of the nicest, best people that I have met since I moved to Nashville. Literally, 615-376-6010. Talk to them today. WeGrowHair.com. WeGrowHair.com. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5, The Zone, little Stone Temple Pilots for you. Here on this Monday, 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Shaffer, Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Shaffer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. So what did you see during the break? The NFL had sent an email, which I got. Buccaneers, Cardinals, Jags, Packers, Saints playing international games in 2022, which is weird. The only reason it's weird is because I count 5, and I'm pretty sure you need 6 teams. Am I missing something?
No, you're not missing something. But what you didn't see is Green Bay's Twitter account tweeting out the London game.
With the Abbey Road photo?
Yeah, with the Abbey Road photo.
You showed it to me.
Matt LaFleur, Bakhtiari's on it. I think Zadarius Smith, and I think Devontae maybe. Missing from that?
Cleanse?
Aaron Rodgers.
Mr. Cleanse?
Mr. Cleanse himself.
Let the bloodletting continue.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
He's missing from the press.
Guess they don't want to have to change that graphic if things don't go their way in here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
Yeah. They good, good for them for taking a stance on Aaron. Dude, the ship is going to continue no matter what. You know,
it can continue very well with Jordan Love.
It ain't, but you're not going to string us. That's my biggest thing. Like, don't allow him to play with your emotions.
Well, they've still got the power if they want it.
They do.
They can call his bluff again.
Well, there's no Devontae Adams on there either.
I was about to say, I figured that was not until they figured that out either.
No. Don't let him toy with your emotions this time around.
Maybe don't put that graphic out either, though.
No, screw him.
No, it's not even that. But, you don't have Adams on there and stuff. So, why don't you just...
It's a free agent, though. It's more understanding.
Just put the Green Bay logo on there. Put the cheerleaders on. Something like that. I don't know. Let's go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. John Glennon awaits. John, what's up?
Not too much, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. I read Bill Barnwell suggest he was doing all these off-season priority lists. He put it up this morning with ESPN, and for the Titans, he said biggest priority is Harold Landry and making sure he stays put, and he puts the number to about $17 million to keep him there with a franchise tag at about 17.4 for that position. What would you say? Do you think that is the number one priority for the team?
I would say it is, and this is the reason. I think, with Harold Landry back, all of a sudden you go to an edge rusher position where you don't have too many questions now. You've got one stud in Harold Landry coming back. You've got Bud Dupree, who you think is going to be up to the level that he was previously before last year. And, you've got a promising reserve in Rashad Weaver coming back. If you don't re-sign Harold Landry, all of a sudden you've got an awful lot of question marks. Is Bud Dupree really ready to be that number one guy? Is he definitely going to be back at that level that we saw him before? Is Rashad Weaver, ready to jump in and be a starter on that other edge, or are you still looking for somebody? So, to me, I think that is the biggest priority, just because there's the biggest question mark if he is not back. You're also looking at wide receiver and offensive line. There's a lot of question marks there, but yeah, I think Harold has to be number one at this point.
As this begins to shake out in the coming weeks and months, who do you feel like are the most likely to be casualties in terms of not wearing a Titans uniform in the fall?
There's a lot of guys that come to mind, but certainly, some of the guys that provide the biggest space and have also struggled a bit. I hate to say it, but you really look at, a guy like a Rodgers Saffold, who is, without question, one of the more respected, beloved guys in the locker room, and been a tremendous asset for the Titans. But, the combination of age and injury, makes you wonder. And the amount of salary cap space they can clear by cutting him certainly puts him at a question mark situation. I think that, like, Kendall Lamb, provides a decent amount of cap relief. I don't think there's much question that he will not be back as well. I think Jack Rabbit Jenkins, certainly, I think he provided solid leadership, veteran leadership in there, but that's a lot of money, too, that can be saved. So I think he is certainly a question mark as well. and then even you wonder, even could a guy like a Brett Kern factor into that situation as well? Been a tremendous punter over the years, no doubt, but if you're looking to save money and the Titans are not in great cap space at this moment, that's a name that's going to get tossed around as well.
One guy Barnwell added to the list that you just mentioned was Cunningham, and talked about the savings that could come from that. Would you be surprised at this point, given what he added to this team, if they didn't try to find a way to keep him around?
Yeah, I would. A combination of the way that he just stepped in and excelled and really seemed to be a good fit and is comfortable with the coaching personnel they're going to have there now. And combine that with the fact that you don't think that either Rashaan Evans or Jayon Brown is going to be back either. So if you can get a combination, of David Long and Zach Cunningham in there, I think that's a pretty good group. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be tempting as you're looking for money to save. That's about $10 million you could save if you move on from Zach Cunningham. But I think the value there is an outstanding one, judging from from what we saw, down the stretch last year. And again, I think he's a good fit with the scheme, with the coaches they're bringing in. So I think they find a way to bring Zach Cunningham back.
As far as this offseason's, official business is about to kick up real soon this week with the combine. What do you think, in your opinion, is a big focal point for this team, considering the questions they got as offensive line, maybe linebacker, secondary, even, truth be told, running back?
Yeah, sure everybody would like to think that Derrick Henry is the man, until he answers the questions of whether he'll be fully ready to go. I don't think we saw the full 100% Derrick Henry. That running back could still be a question. But, I think top priorities, you look at wide receiver, I think whether Julio Jones is back or not, and that's a name I should have mentioned also in terms of potential cap cuts. I think you need speed certainly there, whether he's back or not. You need somebody to back defenses off a little bit, to create space. So I think that's certainly got to be a big priority. Edge rusher, if you don't think Harold Landry is going to come back. And then, there are so many questions on the offensive line, as we talked about. Is Ben Jones going to be re-signed? Is Roger Saffold back? Is Taylor Lewan back? Can you plug Dylan Radins into one of those spots? Do you think he's good enough? Are you committed to David Quisenberry at a right tackle position? There's an awful lot of question marks on the O-line, so I wouldn't be shocked either if they go that direction as well, especially in the interior position. I think they could plug a lot of holes by getting a guy who's versatile inside, with that maybe that first round draft pick.
I don't want to say it's pressure this year as far as John Robinson and the scouting department, the front office goes, as far as the guys that get either, like you said, with the cap, either being cheaper free agents that's going to be a great fit to this team, or truth be told, the amount of draft picks that they have that you really got to maximize more than years past, simply because there's so much money on the defense to where the guys you're getting offensively, free agency, I don't think you're going to be able to pay for because the demand is so high. So the draft picks this year might not be the guys that you necessarily want to get, but they got to be guys that can come in and play right now.
Yeah, I would agree, specifically because we haven't seen enough of that in the last couple of years' worth of draft picks. Now, you look at the overall picture for John Robinson, it's been tremendous.
Yeah.
We've had, 6 straight winning seasons with the Titans, a number of playoff berths, run to the AFC Championship. But, you've got to be able to continually prove it year after year in the NFL. And if you miss on a draft year or two, that automatically puts more pressure on that next class. And, you're looking at this draft too, you're looking at a Titans team that currently doesn't have a second-round draft pick because of the Julio Jones deal. So, I think that ratchets up the pressure, that much more as well. So it's tough. I think certainly that, the draft class 3 seasons ago has been outstanding, and that has been a real key to what the Titans have been able to do the last couple of years. But after the last couple that have been plagued by injuries and some misses, certainly, especially on the offensive line there, this is going to be a key one, as you say, not only for down the line, but stepping in right away.
John, one guy that I have mentioned to numerous guests, and I'm just going to continue to ask people about in terms of looking at free agent wide receivers if you're trying to add more depth. 25 years old, played 1 year for $8 million last year. They're expecting the number to be similar, and he's coming off an injury. How do you think Juju Smith-Schuster would fit with this Titans team, knowing how he has worked with a bona fide number one in Antonio Brown in the past and having a bona fide number one in A.J. Brown here in town?
Yeah, I think that's certainly, a good possibility to consider. I mean, and he's a guy that's got some flexibility to him as well, probably plays more slot than anything else, but certainly could give you a bit of a big play threat and a deep threat. The Titans have seen work against them in games against the Steelers. So certainly a name to consider. And as I say, the Julio Jones name to me is certainly a big question mark going forward. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if after June 1st, the Titans choose to part ways with him. So, yeah, a guy like a Juju Smith-Schuster is the name to consider. And I think, looking at draft picks as well, I think the wide receiver crop is a pretty good one. So I would have to think that unlike last year, one of those, early round picks has to be a wide receiver for the Titans.
Yeah, also tight ends that are potentially out there. Certainly you could potentially get one in the draft, but you're looking at guys like Gesicki and Schultz, and a little bit further down the list, somebody like a David Njoku, who I know our own Rep Brian is a big-time fan of potentially adding. That's a position of need, no question about it. A lot of the best teams in the league possess great tight ends that they utilize as weapons. So what do you think about some of those names?
Yeah, I certainly think, the Titans are in a position to add tight ends. Obviously, the three guys they had last year are unrestricted. And, kind of when you combined Furcher, Swaim, and Pruitt last year, you had maybe, one quality tight end. But, you'd prefer to have one or two more valuable guys and one or two more reserves. The good news, as you mentioned, there's a number of free agent guys, that are good tight ends. And I think this draft, too, from what we're looking at, has a good crop of tight ends, too. And as I look at it, maybe with that third-round pick, I still think you're in a pretty good position if you want to land a tight end there. And probably even into the fourth round, too, you can get a pretty good quality tight end, unlike in some of the past years. So I think as needy as the Titans are at that position, it's a good year to be needy at tight end because either way you go, draft or free agency, I think there are plenty of names to fill that spot.
One thing that's been a trend, I'll say this. Will you have a little bit of PTSD if John Robinson and his staff decide to take a guy like Jameson Williams? I know ACLs are a little less scary as they once were, but do you see that giving this fan base here a little bit of anxiety if he does happen to slip to the Titans?
I absolutely do. I was doing my little mini mock draft the other day, just taking a look at first and third round picks, and certainly Jameson Williams, is a guy I would think the Titans look at. He's expected to come off the board somewhere in that neck of the woods. But honestly, to me, last year I was thinking along the same lines as you there. I was surprised, that they took Caleb Farley specifically because of that. Because they had taken risks, previously on guys, and I thought it was time to say, hey, let's take a guy that we don't have too many, question marks on medically. So, yeah, to me, I think it's a situation where you don't want to take another risk. But, if John Robinson has proven one thing over the years is that he is willing to take a risk. Some have not panned out, clearly, but more often than not, things have worked out pretty well. So, if they deem Jameson Williams to be a guy like a Jeffrey Simmons, who, okay, no problem, that's an ACL, he's going to be out, maybe a few months, and then he'll come back. I don't think they'll hesitate to take him. But, yes, I absolutely think that is going to cause some anxiety for the fan base, and I can understand why. At some point you want to, you get tired of taking chances, I think.
Stadium series, outside of – well, you can defend the Predators' uniforms if you would like. But outside of that, how do you feel like that event went down Saturday?
I think it was a great, spectacle. I think it was great entertainment. It's something that you don't often see. I think the Nashville and the Predators, both hit it out of the park. I didn't absolutely detest the uniforms. I thought, they probably could have done better. But, I think in terms of a memorable event that people are always going to talk about and remember, I think tremendous job for the Predators. And now, I think if you're the Predators, though, after you go Thursday with Pekka Rinne's retired jersey, you go Saturday with the monster outdoor game. You've had some big events here, and now you've got to get back to basically, okay, we're in a heck of a race for the playoffs right now. Let's get back to focusing on just hockey. You got a lot of things coming up. You're 3 points up on the on a playoff spot right now. You've got the trade deadline coming up on March 21st to Philip Forsberg. Probably looking for a new contract before then. So a lot of questions. Now you can return to sort of the X's and O's of hockey instead of, okay, we're going to retire one of the greatest numbers in Predators history, or we're playing the outdoor game.
Have you ever worn a cowboy hat, John?
Have I ever worn a cowboy hat? Not in Nashville. Maybe when I was, say, 10 years old, so at a birthday party, I might have popped one on, but no. And I was kind of interested. What exactly do we call the hats that the Predators wore into the game? Were they cowboy hats? I'm not enough of a fashion guy to say whether those were authentic cowboy hats or what they were.
They were $1,000 hats, John.
What were they called?
They were $1,000 hats. You've heard it.
That they were. No doubt about it. But again, I do think that was part of the whole spectacle, and I think anybody there, or that was part of that whole deal, enjoyed that night, despite the fact the Predators, don't get the 2 points.
Right.
Ramon would buy one.
It's just a smooth looking hat. I gotta give it to him. It's nice. It's nice, John. I won't front. It was a good turnout, though, as Nashville always does, man. I'm glad to see the city working the way it is. And now the business of football about to take over again.
Speaking about the business of football, John, before we let you go, the business of a stadium. What's your take on that situation, certainly in far advance of when something like that would open, and just the speculation surrounding it, the city? Just curious what some of your early thoughts are.
Yeah, kind of my early thoughts are that if the city and the team are sort of planting the seeds for a new stadium is the sense that I get. When you're talking about, all of a sudden costs for renovation might go far exceed what was going to be there before. The cost for renovation wouldn't be all that dramatically different, from building a new stadium in terms of, what it would cost the various parties, and that the old stadium is so outdated in so many ways. To me, I think, the seeds are certainly being planted that we're going to see a new stadium sooner or later. And who knows what benefits, come out of that. Maybe one day it's a Super Bowl, one day it's a Final Four. So I think anybody that's really been, frequently to Nissan, in recent years realizes that it's not the same as a lot of places out there. And if you're going to spend a lot of money, why not just make a brand new one and get you one of those nice state-of-the-art ones?
Great stuff, John. We appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Indeed. That's John Glennon, Sports Illustrated. Hey, it's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah.
So I asked a question about, hey, there's only 5 teams. You need an even number of teams last time I checked. Those are 5. The other 5 we don't know yet. There's 5 different games, so those are just half of them. We don't know what the matchups are for Tampa Bay, Arizona, Green Bay, New Orleans, and Jacksonville. Tampa Bay is going to play in Germany.
That would probably be a cool game right there.
Who knows? Jacksonville.
Is Mexico City in there?
Yes.
Mexico City, yeah.
That's where Arizona will be. And Green Bay, I think.
I was a little surprised they didn't have Pittsburgh going to Mexico City.
Yeah, well, the other side hadn't been decided, right?
No.
Oh, so it might be later on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that Titans-Jags game at Wembley Stadium.
Yo, they talk about altitude in Denver. I think Mexico City's higher up, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's way up there.
That's going to be a big
And then there's
adjustment.
the pollution.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Remember that game? They almost canceled that game a few years ago. The Raiders were down there.
Also, the water issue.
Anytime you mention Titans in London, I just have Luke Stalker flashback.
I just have 615-737.
Pain.
1045. We'll be back to finish it up. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
When the relief valve on your water heater fails, pouring gallons of water into your finished basement, or an electrical shortage in your office causes extensive smoke and water damage, or that musty odor might not be your teenager but indicates you might have a mold problem, you need a lot more than just help cleaning up. That's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new, and as soon as possible. No matter what happens, ServPro is always ready to help. Call the official ServPro of downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPros to see how we can help you get back to like it never happened. That's 800 ServPro. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
If you missed any part of the show, podcast us wherever you get your podcast. You can hear our conversations with Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports and John Glennon, of course, of Sports Illustrated.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it again tomorrow. Slay will join us. T-shirt cannon, we're a little too close in the studio for him to have that anywhere near me. As you said, you were waiting for it to backfire.
Yeah.
And all I was thinking of is the old vintage photo of the bald dude with the cannonball.
Yeah.
Taking it in the stomach, or Homer Simpson taking it.
Yeah.
Slay had the gun backwards, didn't realize it.
Just some person in the front row right to the face.
Internet doesn't miss. You found it during the break.
Yeah, man. If you're going to release something, you better be on point, okay, at all times. You just got to be, because the internet doesn't forgive.
And people have nothing but time.
At the last sentence of Kyler Murray's statement from his agent, there's a typo there.
Oh, boy.
Kyler remains hopeful that the organization chooses to commit so that he can continue. So that the organization chooses is the correct term there. So we were going to take you serious.
So who takes the fall? Because it ain't Burkhardt.
Can you re-release
Which
it?
one of his, minions gets fired?
Somebody's losing.
Who probably didn't even do it.
Can you imagine the letters put together so well, other than the fact that it's just
Oh.
1-0, Jay.
No.
1-0. It's saying pay me $40 million a year. But 1-0 ruined the entire letter.
So you know what you do then? You pay him $4 million and say, well, you forgot the O, so did we.
So did we. Goodness gracious, dog. 1-0 in the last sentence.
1-0 no.
1-0 no. The organization chooses instead of chooses, Jay.
Chooses is not even a word.
It ain't even a word. It's like me, outrovert, whatever I said earlier.
You said, I don't know what you said.
But you knew where I was going. I don't know where they were going with that. Chooses.
You know where they were going with it. We could pretend like we have no idea. If I was the Cardinals, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't understand gibberish. I'd make them resubmit it. Be like, can you resubmit this properly? We'll take it into consideration then.
No, break it down to me like I'm 5.
Yeah. Talk to me as if I'm a 9-year-old. Explain this to me as if I'm a 9-year-old.
Mommy and Daddy gave you $10 for the lemonade stand.
Buck Rising is up next. He'll have Tony Vitello. And heard that in a week. It's breaking me every time. We'll see you same bat time, same JMart and Ramon channel tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. For Ramon Foster and Jonathan Shaffer. I'm Jason Martin. See ya.
And remember, Twitter fingers and your mic always hot.